to see everything. And I'm just going to say it no matter what TikTok thinks, um, just to be clear. But I got the notes, some production notes up there, and what I was thinking is that we could just go through and make a list of what assets we need to create. Um, kind of going, I was thinking by shot, but maybe just as a whole, and then we can start work kind of chunking things off that list. That list will also drive the spreadsheet, the larger spreadsheet, right? So in the spreadsheet right now, I have some random columns. I mean, they're not super random. They were kind of columns based on me working by myself. And one of the things I was thinking was maximum transparency, right? Like um, God level transparency, where we are not God level, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of, I guess it makes sense to put things behind a paywall or even like a group wall where you're sort of collecting and building community, and maybe that's the secret sauce. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because if the Moon Odyssey project is like building this Discord community on Discord, it's not dependent on TikTok. It's not dependent on YouTube. And so, what are your thoughts? We have Turtledust Discord here that we could build up, but that in and of itself becomes a project. And I don't know if I want, and the big difference I would say between us and a group like and what are their names? I need to figure out their names. But the Moon Odyssey team is they're writers, not to say that to sort of diminish writers in any way, but once the writing is done, they're sort of managing a group of folks versus the three of us being the folks. Once the project gets going, we will be also working, right? Drawing, illustrating, cleaning up, animating, right? And so ours isn't so much of a from a logistics, but more of a creative. So one of the things that I was thinking is that we potentially need to find someone who is more logistics, producer, writer, someone who is not going to get pulled into the the deep dive of art and be able to sort of manage some of those things on the back end. And I have no one in mind that I know of who everybody I sort of collaborate with. You're all creatives, so you're going to be in the trenches with me as we grind this thing out. So, um, okay, yeah, and yeah, and just make sure they're clear. Like right now, um, that we are budget wise, we're at the very beginning of this one. I think with this effort, we could like run another Kickstarter. Um, but at this point, just getting things jumped off is it's that's where we are. Um, let's see. I was looking for what was I looking for? I was looking for the production spreadsheet. Production spreadsheet. All right. Oh, we got people watching us talk about strategy. So a lot of folks who follow me on TikTok are like often ask like, where do I start? How do I get started? And this planning piece of it is a big piece um, of what you have to do. And I thought I could kind of go it alone, but um, yeah. So let's jump back. So I have a document open, and I just kind of wanted to make a list of the assets one needs to get started with an animated project, right? And so I think we're beyond the scripting piece, right? We're beyond potentially even storyboard to some extent. And now we know the story we want to tell. We are in the design phase. Um, and what do we need? Um, so I am actually going to share this list making with the folks on TikTok. Um, Brianna and Fred, your you will no longer be on screen, but I'm, you know.
It's all good. It's all good.
uh, all right, so we're in the design phase. We know we're going to need what? Let's bullet list character designs, right?
Yes.
And that sort of breaks down into. Let me go. I can't work without bullets. Uh, so we have turnarounds. So, oh man, I lost my bullets. Turnarounds, expression sheets. Um, what else? Color. What would you call that? Kind of like a color palettes.
It's like some of it is yeah, color spraying, testing.
Right. So color script is definitely a phase, I think, prior to even design, to character design. So color script. Because that will kind of determine, okay, this character in this scene, although all of their colors tend to be like orange and purples, because it's a darker scene, we're going to go with more, whatever the neutral or more less saturated version of that is. So color script, character designs, turnarounds, expression sheets, color palettes. Um, Anything else with characters that we should
Do we need
consider?
any? Would we need any like special poses and like what is it? I know for some they have like a mouth chart, so then it shows like what mouth is going to be used for when people like speak, so they have like vowel placement. Um, so I've seen that before, like a mouth chart. You
Yeah.
take like a character's head and you draw the different kinds of mouth positioning, so they know like the vowels or specific. It's like phonics, but visually. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ace Blade Comics, for the roses and the heart me. Uh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think that would be perfect because in that way, as we are going through um, and designing or illustrating, we've got kind of a guide to work by. And that's what I was thinking. As I start sort of handing out these shots, there's going to be a lot of questions. It's like, hey, what do we do when the character is doing this pose? And this guide will kind of save us some of that time. Um,
Yeah, we might want to also think about the lineup so that we know
uh,
who's
Yeah.
hard and who's not.
yes.
And then shape language, like, I know that Ace is like more of an A shape character, and then Mom is more like an hourglass. So
Mm-hmm.
shape language and stuff like that.
Okay. Yep.
I
Awesome.
think I think also just as we're getting these characters together and like getting this stuff set up, I've also seen like guide templates of what is it? I saw it one time when I was looking at the outhouse of like what they would give their team to know like this is how hands are drawn, this is how like draw like eyes, like specific guides, so then it gives a clear idea of how you um yeah, give like a clear guide on how all characters are meant to be drawn so they can keep that consistency.
Yep. Yeah, and so that's what I was. So let's say pose more of a pose sheet. So because I was so turnaround would be kind of static, right? T pose, right? And then we've got the expression sheet will primarily be focused on the face, and so almost like a pose um, sheet. And I think the pose sheet and the shape language sheet can be one and the same.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Mm. Um, Another piece I was thinking, Fred, you said lineup. One of the things I'm noticing is assuring scale, but this might be more of a background design thing. Background design. And everybody, if you're asking questions, we apologize if we're not getting to them immediately. Ink is saying, I don't know if it's public, but the guide doc to TTG was so well crafted. It's so helpful to new crew. So, what is TTG, Ink? It might be, is that a specific project?
Yeah, I don't
Teen Titans Go.
Ah, sweet. Teen Titans Go. Awesome. Yeah. So for background design, I really feel like color script could even potentially fall under that. But I'm going to leave color script its own thing. I would like to get that done pretty early on. But I want to have a scale chart because I know that I've done a lot of the movement in this animation, but what I've come to understand is that a lot of times the characters in reference to their surroundings will change in scale, and I can see it. Maybe others cannot see it, but I can see that, like, oh well, mom is how is mom truly this size compared to that ship? When they enter this door, are they the right scale? Now Milo is at mom's shoulder, which we'll kind of do with the character lineup, but because mom is too tall, now Milo's too big, right? So those are a lot of things that we have to consider. So yes, please, as
yeah,
someone who's got it,
environment still. Yeah.
yeah, yep. Ink says that yes, the scale refs is a big one. Yep. So we can then sort of like size the characters because there's a number of places where I see that scale impacting the shot. All right. And Ace Blade Comics came in and asked a couple questions, but I think he dropped out before I got to answer them, which is awesome. And he left a bunch of gifts. So shout out to Ace Blade Comics. If you guys aren't familiar with his Danny J. Quick's work, please go and check him out. All right. So background. Background design. I am a huge fan of Steven Universe and their background designs. And I informally sent a copy of the jet model to a 3D guy to have him work on sort of coloring the ship. I'm curious to see what he comes up with. But yeah, right now, as far as backgrounds go, everything is 3D. It's rough. I've done some attempts at it. My plan is to projection map everything. But I think what I want to do is, I was talking about earlier, these illustrations that we can like put out on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that we do some illustrations of the characters in the environments that might not necessarily be final work. I mean, this is Viz Dev, but we're kind of circling back around, right? Like usually people do Viz Dev before they get to where we are. But I'm thinking this is some retroactive visual development. So, but backgrounds. Let's get there. Go back there. I've got scale chart. Just general background design. Is there anything else? Hey, Medine. anything else that we need to keep in mind as we're thinking about background design?
Um,
It's all
one thing.
indoors, right?
Uh, Sorry, go ahead.
Aside from the takeoff, it's all indoors, right?
It's all indoors. Yes, it's all in the hangar.
Yeah.
So prop design. That
Mhm.
um, see, I know. So, and it will be a combination of. Oh, so Calais Vibe said lighting, and that's what I was thinking as well. Lighting.
Yeah.
That's
Prop design.
Not good enough to go on a hike.
I do prop design. One thing that is important, and I've been shared from like other people that I've like that mentored with me or mentored me with prop design is making sure like you are aware of like what they typically do like use on a day to day, but also there are going to be point in prop design you can also need to showcase examples of like items that are broken, items that may need a specific positioning. If, like for example, if there's a vehicle, it needs to be in it needs to be in a turnaround because if it's needed in multiple angles and multiple shots, that can be referenced. But and then like some day to day things. So like thinking about what they would use every day, look at like a pencil, a clipboard, any like and categorize things of like okay, they're going to be using like office supplies, or if it's more tech items and like going more in there, like what the buildings are going to look like, what's the architecture a little bit going to look like if we scale it to buildings or different mechanics.
Yeah, and so I wonder if a shot inventory wouldn't be something we need to, so going through and so in the shot, like let's say shots like in most of the shots, mom is carrying like a tablet and a
Mhm.
pin that she's writing on, right? So we could go through and then in shot one, that little robot zooms past, and so there's all these what we and so that we don't like so we know kind of have an inventory of everything we need to design. We might want to come up with like a scene inventory um, to sort of capture a list of what we need to do. I am kind of neurotic in that like I can't start anything until I know what my stopping point is, and so the shot inventories will tell us like okay, we've got 17 shots. For each shot, there's X amount of items that need to be designed. Let's start knocking them off. Well, and then this asset can be reused here, 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 and here, for instance, right? This asset is in scenes 1, 4, 10, 11, 17, sort of thing. Um,
Yeah. So I believe what you're here's a shorter form for what I'm about to say, but I believe what you're saying is we're looking for the layout of what's in each environment to understand what the background's going to be and how the people interact with the the items. So from like a bird's eye view, we design the room and then we label what's inside of that room and then the path of each character and even them running from that um, to the jet. And then from that bird's eye view, we label this is the robot. Here's where it's going to come from. It's going to go from screen right to screen left, and the three are going to stop, and then all that kind of stuff. That's how we find out what's in the room and how they interact with certain things, and then that tells us for each shot what's in what items are going to be in those shots. A tablet, a robot, dad licking a food on the floor.
yeah.
We need to establish each environment and what's going to be in it first, and then you can say what items are going to be, and then the path of the characters, and that tells us what goes inside of each cut slash sequence.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
to download this thing because this was from when I was with Netflix. They do like kind of what Fred is talking about, where you're like we're gonna have to like take a look at it if we have like the storyboard or even like an animatic that we can reference, but then like breaking down by the what is it? Breaking down. I'm gonna drop this.
Did you want to share something?
Yeah, I can share it. Just let me see.
Yeah, if you put it up, I can share your screen so everybody can see. Cal Kalal Vibes is saying, hello, Meshy AI could help with making 3D props. We appreciate it, Kyle, but we are drawers, and we we like to draw stuff. So, all right, let me share what Brianna's sharing with everyone.
Staging. That's the short
Staging.
version of what I'm saying. 12
Okay.
principles of animation is called staging.
Okay, hold on.
So this is. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see if I can full screen this. Can I get rid of the sidebar in?
In the bottom right, you should see like an arrow that's like you can open this, or you can
Oh,
zoom in
pop it
too.
out. Yeah, let's do a
Yeah.
pop out, and then I'll move the pop out over. Perfect. There you go. All right, awesome.
All right, cool. So basically, this is just an example of like what has done before. So we would need to have like the video of the animatic, pretty much, and then if we have a reference of all the characters that we know are going to be in the film or shot, and after watching the animatic, this is a way that we can track to know like what we need in the film. So it's a breakdown template, and pretty much as you're watching the animatic, you would then input like the frame number or if the time code of where it's like where it is or which shot or which frame. The character that's involved with it. If there is a special pose, you put like a small description of what it is. If there is a prop that is needed, you would then input like a prop. So like with the mom, she holds like the clipboard, so we would put in clipboard as like a prop because we see it in multiple shots. But then if there's like specific effects, so that's like smoke, if that's water, if that's what is yeah, if it's like smoke, water, anything that is going to require any special effects, anything like I've seen a lot with like magic. If there's any like goop, like what Fred was saying, we then also just put that in there too. But then sometimes it depends on the time of day. So this was an example of like that was filmed in here of like when we were looking at like Momo, that was a Cartoon Network show, and we saw a campfire. And the campfire, though, it was at night, so that gave us a note of when we do an effects, we need to like make sure we like pinpoint what the campfire is going to look like in the nighttime. So I'm wondering, like, if this is something we want to also use when we're like taking a look at, like, I think if you already have something where like we kind of came up what is already there, and then we can kind of pinpoint not only just the characters that we need, but also pinpointing the props, special effects that we're also going to need as well as special effects, but like any effects of like smoke or anything like that.
Raccoon, thank you for the roses. So I wonder, Brianna, you still do you? I don't know if you have access to. I'm going to share with you and Fred this. It's the spreadsheet similar to what we used
Yes.
on in betweening.
Yeah, I have that. I can find it.
Yeah, but I made one for from a distance. But I don't know if I have you. I should. Yeah, you've worked on projects in this environment, Brianna Odom. Odom.
I see the animation scenes for in between. I see that file because I remember we
Yeah.
did go through that.
Yeah, I have access to the in between animation scenes file still.
Yeah. So I'm working in my new environment here. I am going to email you both a public link, and then eventually I can pull you into the the pull you into the new environment, but here, copy, done. So yes, and I'm wondering if we can integrate what you're saying, Brianna, in terms into um, this existing spreadsheet, so that we don't have to.
Right.
But another thing that I was noticing as you were speaking was that if it is, so this is, I don't know if you can see what I have up now, but this
Yeah,
spreadsheet
I can.
is per scene, right? And
Right.
so if this scene has all the characters, mom, or no, four of the characters, mom, Ace, Milo, and Audra, and then the robot zooms by, is that's not really possible to do it on this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet, um, it's kind of like there's not enough space. I almost feel like there should be a separate sheet that is then broken down by character.
It could be possible. I think it just depends on how. If it's if I think it is possible, but I'm wondering if it's like if it's on multiple shots and it is like the same thing. I'm wondering then if it needs to be repeated, just like don't try to repeat it unless there is something different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's my thought.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna. Um.
Because
Are you willing?
that
Are you able to sort of take that on,
yeah
and kind of determine whether it makes sense to put it here? Because I almost feel like maybe the spreadsheet that you were creating. Raccoon, thanks again for the hearts. The spreadsheet that you were just showing us, that example, could just be a tab, and then we could come up with
yeah
almost like a shot code, and then if the character is then in multiple shots, we can just have a thing that says shots. There was a program called Shotgun, or by
yes
um the by Autodesk. I think it's called something else now, but that's how it did it. It's like
What was that?
assets. What's that?
What was the name of the program?
It used to be called Shotgun, but now it's called
shot grid.
Shot Grid.
Grid.
Yeah. Shot Grid. And I signed up for a trial. I think maybe I might still actively have a trial going. But it had a system similar. Um, and I was considering potentially using that, but it's a lot of like startup. So hold on, Brianna. Do you want me to do the 13 at Gmail, Brianna? Because I still
Yes.
have your Aggie's email too.
I graduated.
Yeah. Don't send it there. And then Fred.
Even though I still have access to it, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think when you graduate, they if you successfully complete it, we want to keep you on as alumni in education, so we often let you keep a little email so we can reach out to you and try and give us money. All right. So, all right, I'm sending you both this email with the link to the spreadsheet so you can open it up on your end. So, all right. So what are we going to call that? Because that almost sounds like the shot inventory, but a better. What did you call it earlier? Mr. Butler. Okay, what's on the agenda today? Hey, Mink, we are strategizing over the. We are going to be escalating this project. Essentially, not escalating. What's the word? Scaling. Right now, it has been just me for the last apparently 7 months, guys. When I jump on TikTok. Oh, did we lose Fred?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh. When I jump on TikTok, it tells me like how many weeks straight I've been doing doing the project, and and it said 27 weeks of straight. I've been going 27 weeks straight, which is essentially almost 6 in 1 month. Because a year is 25 of 52 weeks. So we're coming up on 6 months, half of a year that I've been streaming every day and working on this. So, yeah. Okay. So that shot inventory idea. So inventorying what we need to design and what we need to make. I'm going to put it up here with color script. Oh, did I share this document with you? You guys aren't seeing the production funding document, are you?
I've seen the short, the seed management.
Yeah.
Description. I got that.
I got to share another one. Share another one with you. Share anyone with the link. Copy link. I'm going to send you another email. Yeah. And then I'll.
Looking at this time, I mean, the one that you just sent us for the scene management, there's some tabs at the bottom. Maybe you can just add another tab, and then it'll all be in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking we want to kind of think of the assets as they're like own outside of the scene, and then they're, hey, this one occurs in scenes 1, 5, 10, 11, and then we know we design that asset and where it's going to be included, and then on the shot list we can say all assets are designed, all animation is completed, all compositing is done. You know what I mean? And sort of like chunk it out that way. Hey, what's up, Crystal? Yeah, we are amping things up. So, so all right. So, I think first things first, color script, and I will work on that. Brianna, are you volunteering to give us a kind of a structure around the shot inventory? And you should have access. I will share with you access to the animatic that I play. It's why don't I need to get you two added to it, but I will send you. I think I shared a link for that on the Discord.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So you can use that. There's 17 shots. You see that in the shot breakdown spreadsheet. A list of assets, inventory, characters, and then I think the first thing I want to do, maybe we can. So one of the things I've been hesitant of is taking any shot to any sort of final look. And because I don't think I've done enough design to take anything to a final to not have to come back and redo a bunch of stuff. So I almost feel like maybe we choose one shot. We kind of like build out the assets and then hone in on that hero shot and do it all the way to completion. Maybe not a super long one because maybe we find that we do want to go back and change something. So as you're going through it, maybe the two of you can think about which shot I think captures enough. And one of the ones that's kind of leaning at the top of my list, let's see, is shot 4. No, it's shot 3 on line 4. It's only 64 frames. It's a repeated animation, right? It's essentially, I have it as a loop. And it's got Ace, Mom, and Milo in it. And so we could potentially, do the character design for Mom, Ace, Milo, the design for the tablet she's holding. There's the little AI unit in the background. And then we see a bit of the hanger. And that might be something that we can sort of like see how this design process works. So maybe instead of, I don't know. what are your thoughts? I have this idea of I like to start with little small bits and then scale it up. Um, but I think yeah, I I'm rambling now. I need other
I got you.
brains.
Got you. Got you. So, the hero shot sounds great. I highly suggest that too. I'm looking at shot three. There is the three characters. We still need Audra. So we can do shot four. She's in the back, but we can design her up and get her look finalized too. It also gives us room to play with in the background. The down part to that is it's a little longer. It's from 4 seconds and 15 frames to 6 seconds and 20 frames. So
Are you saying shot
uh,
one? Which shot?
shot four, line five.
Shot four. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it tests the camera movement as well.
And we'll be able to get that environmental scaling in there too. It also gives us opportunity to work with lighting, we're messing with the background, well, blender background type stuff, and see how it's gonna be totally finished. Like you said, the hero shot it from A to Z. And then when we start moving into the other longer shots, it all have the same continuity, the same look as shot four. Rihanna? Cool.
Oh, Brianna, were you
Yours?
speaking?
Oh, can't hear you. I wasn't looking this way. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
I think my mic like
Okay,
switched
you're
up.
back.
Okay.
You're back.
So I agree with Brent of like what he was saying, like like really like honing in on like getting the characters. I think like to a point where we can get them like coherent enough so then we can actually like use that consistency. Like one thing I can say too was I remember in the stream you were talking about either having a helmet for the oh god I forgot his name.
Milo?
Um, yes, for Milo, or then changing it into like just his regular hair. So like, okay, that's going to be a point where we need to have that like process of are we going to have a moment where he has the helmet on, or is there going to be a moment where we're just going to show the case of hair? So then that's like keeping that and noting that. Same with backgrounds because we're going to be working with a lot of like background lighting, even like outside with the shot of I think it's shot like even though we are inside, we are still showcasing light outside too. In majority of the shots from like shot
I
scene
think.
eight,
Mm-hmm.
shot scene eight, shot 8 and 9, where we're going to be having to rely on a lot of lighting from two different sources. Um, but I do think like at least getting the concrete of those elements down in order to then move forward and like getting like that consistency for the animation for the shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think simple is better as long as we go
Yep.
with a cohesive plan. We can do that. In my opinion, is that we roll with Milo's hair out.
Yep.
Even because it's giving Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, with the helmet, yes, with the hood on, it's totally giving Buzz Lightyear. And yeah, I think we definitely, I mean, homage to Buzz, a cool design, but yeah, people kept saying, "Is that Buzz Lightyear?" Yeah, no, not basic.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
baby.
it gives him a good silhouette too with his hair out. So
Mm-hmm.
I love strong silhouettes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So, um,
And I've seen the way you've drawn him and Dad's hair. It's fairly simple to keep track of because all you do is fix two houses.
yeah, yes. And but one of the things I noticed, there's a shot where I wasn't paying attention as I was drawing it, and I like gradually turned the boxes so it looks like his hair like rotates on his head. So this yeah, we'll make sure to keep it more consistent, which is why it's this shot here where his
All right,
head
it's our
kind of
keep us in the loop. That's all
yeah.
right.
So characters. Let's should we start an inventory of characters? And I tried to keep it simple. So there is, of course, our star, mom slash Xena. Did we go? Yeah, X or X? Ace, the oldest, Milo, Audra, Dad, Nate. And then the two background characters, Cyan and Sienna. Right. That shot that you wanted to start on, Fred. So they're in a couple shots. They are in. Actually, they would. There's a few shots. So they're here. And I think you can tell from they're named after those two colors, cyan and sienna. So when you go in, you'll know who's who. But we're going to need to do some sheets for them as well. So I think there's only about 6 characters. No, 7 characters. I don't know. Do we want to count the robot as an asset or a character?
I think a question I have with the robot, is it a significant, or they play a significant role in the story?
No. Some of the things that have been emerging as I've been kind of going through, is it just seemed very empty for a for so I used to work on the flight line when I was in the Air Force, and it's a very busy environment, right? You got technicians going from place to place, and you've got things constantly moving, ships preparing for takeoff, ships that are under maintenance, people who are security, all that is kind of buzzing around. And so I wanted to give the hangar more of this sort of like buzz, and I didn't want to introduce more humanoid characters. So my plan was in all of these shots, because 3D is fast and simple. Famous last words. Is I wanted to have all these little box bots buzzing around, right? And we can put props on top of them or just simple shapes and then texture them. But like they're like carrying things from place to place. In this shot, my plan was to have, and it will save us on some animation too if we obscure the 2D characters. There was going to be something kind of sliding along this pipe, like a little like cylinder type bot, and just the AI in the background. But essentially, these little robots kind of buzzing here and there, is what I was thinking, and it would be the same model for all of them. So, but no, not really characters as much. They are just props in the background. So
Yeah, to do that, I think they can be secondary or maybe even lower. Get all the characters in, and then once we have all those movements in, maybe we can come back and put stuff in the background.
mm-hmm.
Or you have if it's in a blender, or you can just use the automation. Be clear on my word there, automation. Uh, or Clip Studio Paint, where it can move it from like a wobbly or spaceshipy whatever in the background, or just a solid line, or a person who's like stuck like this. But you can put him on a ladder, and the ladder can move across like he's going from one thing to another,
Yeah,
or whatever, like something like that. But after the main primary pieces of animation are done.
okay, yeah, let's I like that, because it's interesting. I wanted to plan, like have my storyboard plan for all this, but all of these things start to emerge as some of them are solutions to problems. So in the first scene, give you both some background. When I first tried to animate Mom moving from the group moving from the door entryway to off camera, they were getting to off camera way too soon, and their lines were actually being delivered off screen. And I was like, that doesn't work. I have to slow them down. So then I tried to slow down the walk cycle, and essentially they looked like they were like walking in slow motion, right? And I was like, okay, that doesn't work either. So that's when I introduced the robot, right? So they're going, they come to a stop, right? My plan is to put some sort of, I don't know, some sort of indicator like flashing lights on the floor. And let me know if I'm complicating things. You two, I'm really gonna need you to like hit the brakes when I start, like, because I can kind of see in Fred's face where I say, yeah, I want to put some lights on the floor, and it's like, okay, lights on the floor, that is 4 weeks of work. you know?
No, I
Yeah.
because all you gotta do is like maybe like make the border like red, and then
Hmm.
you stop, and then when it goes green again, they go, and it's in her brain. She already knows that when she sees red, just stop
Yeah.
moving,
Yep.
and then go again. Not much to animate there. It's all in composite.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, all right. So yeah, and then they stop, and so and what that did was that completely solved that. So they stop long enough to deliver the lines. The robot zooms by. It's interesting. People are like, ooh, little robot, and then they continue on walking. And so, and I did not discover that until I had put in the motion. And so those are some of the things that why I may continue animating on some of these scenes, because I want to make sure that in terms of timing, composition, and movement, that things are going to function the way we expect, because that will inform, which I, which leads me to think a lot about like big productions. um, you know, do they make it seem like we storyboard, and then we animatic, and then we animate. We've already done all the design. It's like, how did you do all that design before you got your knew what you were going to need on screen for how long? So.
Hmm. I think something I remember because I found all my stuff from my internship with Netflix. So there is a difference. One of them, there's two ways of how they actually go about this process, because if it's you have storyboard, it's like storyboard driven, and then you have script driven. So if there is a storyboard driven show or TV series, or even if it's a film, everything that is being captured with like the assets, because they only have like what designers have about maybe like 8 weeks to get everything that they need, because they ship all that stuff overseas when they do the animations. So usually, what is it? I got my brain. So if it's like a script driven show, the script is like they basically take like what is in the text and then create those assets.
Hmm.
But if it's storyboard driven, they can actually visually see what they need to actually then create the process, because they already have something to reference from. Whereas like the script driven, it's more of like we get the description, but now we need to visualize what that actually is going to look like. If like there is guidance, if there's yeah, if there's guidance, but if there's not guidance, then it's going to be based off the art director
Okay.
or who's going to be in charge.
Yeah, and this one is much more storyboard driven.
Right.
The script was simple, and so and then to the point I've taken it, I think yeah, I haven't really designed anything, so I am totally open to. But I've also tried to keep the props as minimal as possible. Mostly because I was doing it alone. So I'll be curious to see as you go through and analyze um, the each of the shots to inventory what emerges. Um, Earlier, Kyle, it looks like Cali vibes said textures. And I was really thinking of textures and all of that as part of background, because our thing is a 2D 3D hybrid. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to go about that. If it's a held shot, right, and our camera's not moving, we can do some of the initial design in 3D to get sort of a base, but really just do all of that as an illustration, right? So I think we also need to have like a list, and I don't know what phase this would occur in, but like what's 3D, what is going to be true 3D and illustrated, I mean, and textured, and then what is going to be 2D and illustrated, right? And that way we can know, like, okay, we did one render, we no longer need to go back to 3D for this particular shot.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would help too, especially like one like because I'm currently looking through it right now and actually filling out the stuff. So right now, I'm just going through, and this helps because the way that we kind of need to also like name this and like especially I don't even say like even just the inventory, but when like putting everything together, we would need to identify like what is considered like not only just like 3D assets. So if it's a stuff like one of the robots that can help you in like numbers,
I can help you.
like almost like in a like couple seconds.
Why are you stressing
That's like a robot. I was like, okay, that's robot A. So robot A is either going to be 3D, and then there's like if we need to like, and then add a note of like maybe like prop underscore prop underscore robot A underscore 3D. Like if it's specifically a prop that's 3D, we can then just emphasize like that is going to be a 3D model. If something is going to be flat and 2D, we don't have to put that labeling. So then it helps us organize and know like what is going to be 3D and what's not, what doesn't need to be modeled out.
Okay.
Yeah, that tells for textures too, because if it's going to be 2D, then it's going to be and we can have symbols for that to just port them back in over and over again when we need them as needed, with like the bat symbol or Superman symbol. It's the same symbol, port it over, and then they skew it and put it on whatever shirt ad said Batmobile, whatever it's going to be.
Cool. Yeah, I also like that naming idea for the backgrounds too, right? So like background, whether or not it's going to be 2D or 3D. So, and we can, if you go through it now, if there isn't camera movement, we're going to render a single frame and then just illustrate that. And then if there is camera movement, that's when we're going to texture a background. And I don't know if I've been thinking about this, and maybe this is getting too far into the weeds. So I use projection mapping. I'm not doing any UV unwrapping unless we get somebody who's like a 3D phenom, right?
What is going on with you? No, you look like you're ready to cry. What is going on?
And so, yeah, who can unwrap and texture and build these models. Otherwise, with camera mapping, essentially, we do an illustration of the view from the camera, and then somebody paints a flat version of it, and then we just essentially shoot that on there. And I think with the moving shots, you can potentially animate textures. So I was like, okay, if you can animate textures, then maybe you can animate the texture projection. Anyway, it's a crazy idea that is, because right now you have to like do a texture map from this angle, then from this one, and from this one. And so anyway, something we need to look into when we get there.
Yeah, I like that. I remember we did that for the cars.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how long that may have taken you, but that, in my mind, is a good route to go to not have to wrap and unwrap stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's a nightmare all by itself every time I've done it.
Excellent. Um, Kal Vibes says, "Oh, I like the backdrop. Um, our backdrops, or
Just go like a backdrop. You're talking about projection map.
okay, awesome. All right.
But
Uh,
please correct me if I'm wrong. Ace is the he's the kid with the two spikes on
yes.
his head. Okay, just want to confirm before I start naming things because I want to make sure.
Yeah. And I give you guys access to? There's an older. I ported everything. I got a Google Workspace and I ported everything. I made a version over there. Um, so I don't know if I ever gave you guys access to that side of the house because to add additional people, um, there's a cost for every additional person I add to the workspace. So um, I can give you access to the previous version, and I think I have a whole design folder. Character anime character designs. Yeah. And it's got their old designs in here. I will shoot that over to you. I'm just going to give you access to that whole from a distance folder, which I think you may already have access. Nope. All right. Brianna and Fred.
I changed my thing because I'm looking at this. I'm gonna get DaVinci on this desktop I have here.
DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, because then I don't use Premiere Pro anymore.
Oh.
I don't. I got it kept bugging out for me, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm done. So I'm just gonna because I have DaVinci in my upstairs office. I'm in my downstairs basement studio
Okay.
right now. So this desktop, I gotta get this one.
So, Resolve, yeah, DaVinci Resolve is free. What are you going to be doing with DaVinci for the project? Is that for
So
something? Go ahead.
this is the way so I could get the time codes of the like from the minute, the second, and the hour, the minute, and the second down in the asset folder. So then we're looking at it not just frame by frame, but like every second. So then we can see how long specific things are going to be. So for instance, right now in just minutes and seconds that I have it in the timesheet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm writing down the character that I see, how long we see this character with this specific item. So if there's a prop and we see them see them how like having a prop for a long period of time, we would make a note of like okay like this is from time frame of where this is at the second do the 7th second of this film of like the shot we see mom she is writing and this would be prop clipboard shot A.
Wicked.
This is how we then identify. So then, if we see it again of the same prop, it's the same kind of layout in this shot in this many time frames. We see the mom Xena writing, but this is shot B. So this will help us understand for like not only just character poses and props. It helps us identify specifically how many shots we're going to need of a specific prop in particular. So for me right now, I'm seeing like the clipboard is seen in multiple shots, but they're at different angles.
Yeah,
So
and
that will help us with posting.
there are a couple. If you're looking at the visuals based on the film, there are occasions where I forgot to draw the clipboard in her hand. So
Right.
she has it um, in every shot you see her before the flight center where they're like guiding Audra for takeoff. Um, and maybe we can meet and kind of go through, or do you want to go through kind of shot by shot now? I can pull up the film and we can kind of walk through it. What is your? I know that you want to pull it into Resolve to get like much more detailed time codes, but maybe we can talk through each shot sort of generally, and if you have questions about it, I can kind of answer what I'm thinking or where it's at, or
Yeah, we can
so.
definitely do that. I don't mind.
Let's see. I'm gonna do it.
Because I think this will also help us like figure out like how you want to name things.
Okay.
Because like in productions they have like specific coding names. So like if you're working on a show, so for this it'd be like this is also how we would name files.
Okay.
When we're making things and like making these assets, so when it gets to animation, they can actually reference like, okay, we need you to reference this this shot. Well, when using this shot, you need to reference this file, and it'll have like the model name specifically.
Okay. Sick. Awesome. All right. All right. Ooh. All right. So, um, shot one. I'm gonna. All right. All right. So how would you like me to kind of break it down? Just kind of describe it, or
Uh, I think like let's like we can go through each one like no not just like frame by frame, but also just take a look and see what's happening. So I got like the first I think the first couple of shots in the beginning.
okay.
We see uh the mom, she is writing,
Okay.
but she's going to be looking down. And this also we would want to identify like the character's expression.
Yeah.
So if it's concerning, if they feel confident, if they are showing like any kind of like emotion or expression would also help us so then we can identify like what expressions we need to make.
Sweet. Okay. I tried to go to Premiere, but Premiere is a resource hog. So I'm just going to open up the last render of it. That'll be easier for playback. Yes. So mom, what I was thinking, the vibe there is she's busy. She's trying to focus on something. Um, and the kids are, you know, she's doing her best to be engaged, but trying to ignore them, right? So her eyes are on what she's writing, and I want her to move from, and she's trying to figure something out, right? So it's from this sort of like focus to wait, hold on, and then back to focus, and then as she's doing that, the kids are asking her, mom, this is great. And she's like, yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. Good job, Milo. Oh, excellent, Ace. You're telling them how great they are, but she is totally focused on what she is writing. And, I don't know if she's calculating flight paths or just going through a checklist. And then Milo in this shot is essentially, you know, I don't know if he's actually trying to suck up, but he is genuinely excited about what mom's doing. But his thought is, if I tell mom how awesome her new ship is, maybe she will let me go fly it first, right? Um, and then Ace is like, why are you being such a little suck up looking at Milo? Right? Like, the only reason you're saying all this, because this is what I would do if it was me, is I would flatter mom so that I could get uh, Jamie. Thank you for the follow. So that I can get in the ship first, and then Audra, as she enters, she's kind of like first off a little kind of lost and confused, right? Kind of just tagging along, um, the door closing behind her with that shunk kind of catches her off guard and surprises her. But then she kind of gets her bearing and, oh, the group's leaving me behind, right? So it's almost like that little kid wonder of like, oh, what's going on, Nito? Oh, look at the flowers. Oh, whoa, and then trying to keep up with them. There is the part that is introduced, and you can see here Although Mom is completely aware of her surroundings, though her eyes are on the keyboard when they come to a stop. Ace, not so much, right? So you can see where he, like, oh, wow. Yeah, here's the stop line. Robot zooms past, and then they kind of get going again. Right? So let me play that through again.
So Milo is aware. Like Milo is not aware
Uh,
that the robot is coming.
his eyes are trained on Mom, so when Mom stops, he stops. Right?
Oh, okay.
All right. So, Mom, the ship is awesome, right? Oh man, it's so awesome. 48 seconds. That's amazing. Whereas Ace is like, oh, Milo, why are you such a little brat? Oh, snap, we're stopping. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Gotcha.
um, so let me play it all the way through. Right. And this one is a continuation of the others, and I think Mom and Milo are going to be pretty static in their like focus on, well, Milo's focus on Ace and Mom's focus on her pad and what she's writing,
Right.
until she, sort of, and even when she's responds to Ace, she's going to stay completely focused. And so I, at first, I was going to have him doing some big gesture. I'm going first. But in the interest of, just the amount of animation, and time, and just like, what would people really do? There is kind of a puffed up gesture to his walk, like, older brother, confident that he's going to get to go first because he always goes first. Um, Firstborn, first in everything. uh, you know, um, and so he'll probably turn his head to look, and then kind of look to Mom, but this is mostly to Milo, right? Like,
Yep.
um, and she's not telling anybody that they get to go first, but to each of them, it sounds like, yeah, you get to go first, right? Like, um, and then same kind of reverse on this shot, um, where the two, Mom and Ace, kind of are held in their expression. Mom, once again, is a little bit more deeply focused on what she's writing. Um, Ace is looking at Milo, maybe in the beginning with like kind of a neutral face, but then like a skepticism towards the end.
Okay.
And Milo, very passionate about, like, because he's a pilot, and this idea of AI flying the plane and not him kind of irks him. So, I'm not sure what that expression is going to be quite yet, but, that is what we're trying to capture, in whatever. But he's, we're not even. Go ahead.
I see like the expression on his face right now is like he's almost. I'm not saying like he's yearning, but it's like he's trying to like hold his own. Of like he deserves to be to go into the shuttle first.
Yeah.
Almost like standing his ground.
Yes, I think that's a good observation because, you know, the I'm a middle child, and we often are poorly treated as middle children. The older one is such a spoiled brat, and the young.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
and but Milo is also one to not cause conflict. So although he's trying to hold his own, he's trying to do it in a way that sort of appeases Ace and doesn't upset him. So, and it's not even about, his response is not to Ace as much as Ace's response was like, you're not going first, I'm going first. His is like, well, none of us are even really flying anything. Um, no pun. And did you see also in the background one of the things that I think I'd like to enhance? Do you see the little eyeball thing back here? Um, I really want to capture when he says the autopilot does all the work, because that's the autopilot, the little eyeball. So I don't know if that's like I might need to just change the timing in that, like when they start walking. And that's something I could kind of probably fix in 3D pretty easily. Um, but yeah. And so this is the shot I think, Fred, you were saying might be a potential for what is the word? For hero shot, sort of like our test burn. If you notice, I'm going to start with Audra in the back because this shot is really mostly focused on her. She is not walking in a straight line. Let's see if I can. Like,
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like she's kind of coming this way at one point. I don't know. Maybe it's too subtle, but
Can I go first? Andre, good job.
Oh, she isn't.
yeah, because the thing I want to capture is like, little kids that like she's like, oh, look at that over there. Oh, hey, oh, whoa, can I go first? You know what I mean? Like, sort of naively and innocently, like, whereas the other two. So then she says her piece. I want to go first.
Can I go first?
And they're like, oh, who said she could talk? Right? They both, right? Like, what is she doing back there? And so the both of them stop with this sort of like, what's that?
Say it again.
Yeah.
They were disappointed that she spoke.
Okay, so like surprised or shocked.
Yeah. More so like, what? Who? Like not really surprised or shocked, but I don't know. I don't know how to describe
they
it.
realized her existence.
Yes, like, who invited Audra is almost the expression, like, almost like a what, like, what is she doing here, sort of thing. So, because they both kind of like their faces, kind of like they go to that pinched mouth and the like eyebrows down, but then they both turn.
Good job.
Right, and of course this is pure venom. This one, they are, and I really wanted them both to say at the same time in sequence, oh my god. Well, they both, Ace says oh my god, but they both yell Audra together, but I only recorded my voice once, so it sounds like it's just Milo or just Ace, but they're supposed to say it together. And then at first she's like, I didn't want it to be fear as much as it is surprise, right? Like, oh, hey Mari. Mari's saying that their expression is girl. Who said you could come? Nobody invite you, Audra. This, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is why they were like, who invited Audra? Because, my god, you crashed the simulator. So I like the acting in that scene. There's not. I think it's pretty clear, what they're, the way they feel, because yeah, she messed it up earlier for everybody by crashing the simulator so that nobody could practice. But yeah, and that hand expression that Milo does, that I took from that. Do you remember that meme with the guys? They were talking about Wicked, and her sister was a witch. So what does that make her? A princess? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I really want to make sure I capture that. And lip sync is a little off now, but I think this one I felt like I put a lot more time in sort of figuring out what their expressions were. But yeah, all right. And so of course they've given her um, the Big Brother treatment, and Ace is somewhat upset and satisfied with what he did. I think Milo has a change of heart midway through, right?
Yeah.
You go last. And he looks back at her and is like, "Oh, what did I do that? Why did I do that? I'm sorry." Um, but then there's also the maintaining the respect of his older brother. Uh, I don't know. I mean, of course, you can see here, Mom has the pad. I think they're inspecting. I'm not sure if I'm going to have an open panel on the ship or not. But in terms of like space flight, this is their reentry vehicle. So I imagine they'd be looking at tiles and all that technical space stuff. Um, so they're just inspecting. At one point, I was going to have one of the characters ducking under, but as I started going through this, I'm like, okay, where can I reduce and cut motion? And this is another one. This one struggles with scale, right? Um, Mari asks, "You are the animator or responsible for the voices or both?" I am currently the animator, the only animator, and I did all the voices. At this point, I was just building a framework for the team. And Mari, thank you for the follow. Mafia Trap, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I've put all this together in preparation to work with other folks to do voiceover and animation and everything else. So and I have these grids where I'm trying to track their scale, but I think here their size compared to the ship is not correct. And so that's something we're going to need to keep in mind. But this one, there's not a whole lot of expression. So here we've got my Audra running away in the background, and then I guess Ace and Milo, where Milo is like, well, I need to stay in Ace's good graces too. Yeah, did I? That one is got a lot that needs to work out. They're both same expressions as when they turned initially, but then Milo, who did have that moment of regret, is like, no, well, I need to stay cool with Ace. So, stupid Audra, you know what I mean? Like, we're bros, right? But then Ace kind of turns on him and is like,
You called her dumb.
yeah, anything you do, little middle brother, I am not going to think it's cool. So even when you agree with me, I'm going to disagree with you agreeing with me. You know, so and it's like no matter what Milo does, it will always be a no go for Ace, right? So stupid Audra. What? You just called her dumb. I didn't say it like that. The way I called her dumb was not the same way you called her dumb. The way you called her dumb was bad. The way I called her dumb, that's what I do, and so that one I think is going to be a very interesting sort of exchange. So anyway, Ace sounds. Do you already have all the voice actors? Like I was gonna have all my kids do the voice acting. I have a version where they have recorded all the voices, but that was 4 years ago, and they are all older now. So I listened to their voices from when we recorded it 4 years ago, and they all sound like babies. And now I listen to it now, listen to their voices now, and they're all like, you know, Milo, who used to sound like, "Hey, I'm Milo." This is my kid is now like, "Yeah, I'm Milo." So it's like I got to re-record everybody.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, and it happened in such a short amount of time too. So the person, my kid who did Milo, is potentially going to do Ace and Milo, but we'll see how that goes. If worst comes to worst, we might look at getting voice actors, but stay tuned, everybody. And Day Day, thank you for sharing the live. Ace is a tough cookie. He's based on my oldest, and my oldest was a tough cookie. So, but that's the tough biz working with kids. Yeah, they change so quickly. So you got to get it done in there and out. So, all right. So, any questions about that shot? And you can see I did a pretty good job here at it being consistent with mom's props. And she's the only one who really has a prop. Let me back up actually. So from shot 1, you see Milo holding his hand here.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have like a holographic model of the ship.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
That he's like looking at, and that's why his hand is up like that, because he's supposed to be holding like a puck or something, and hovering above it is like a rotating hologram of the ship. And at some point he puts it in his pocket or puts it away, but I'm not sure, right? So here you can see he's looking at his hand, and he's holding his hand up, and he's got that little model, right?
Okay.
So I think he should still be holding it here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he could potentially still have it here as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But maybe when they yell at Audra, he puts it away.
He puts it away.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that maybe the puck, he just like attaches it to his suit somewhere, right? Like maybe it's his badge or something, right? I was gonna say pocket, but and like maybe it's their communication / something device that he like maybe he attaches it, because they all have big sort of like space collars that their helmets lock into. So maybe it attaches somewhere. So that's just something to keep in mind, that he has this puck that's got a hologram of the ship, and then at some point he puts it away. Let's just say he puts it away in shot 4.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
like that idea that it attaches to his spacesuit. Kind of like like that Trekkie symbol. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they communicate to each other, it can just be like off, and he's holding it and talking. I mean, showing it off, and then when you put it back, it looks like the rest of the team, like, oh, what he was talking through or what he was showing was actually a part of the suit, so they
Yeah.
can all do the same thing. It sends a message without over explaining it in a different way.
Yeah. So making sure that puck device is in Ace's design. And I think for Audra, you see how she's got those big circles on the front of her uniform? Maybe one of those circles on the front of her uniform is her puck, right? So I like that when they scream, they get bigger. Yeah, I am very inspired. So if you guys, in order to understand where I'm going in terms of like the bigger expressions, watch Kill la Kill. Have you seen Kill la Kill? Kill la Kill?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And like there's certain characters will just be overly sized, and the other characters. So I really kind of want to get at that. So I think your appliances are singing. Yes. We just brought out some gluten-free. What kind of muffins?
They're like carrot,
Mm.
apple.
Carrot apple muffins?
Without
Nice.
Morning Glory muffins. So, it will be one of the Kickstarter tiers, muffin tier. So if you contribute enough to the Kickstarter, we will ship you a muffin. We don't guarantee its freshness when you receive it, but so is it good to show when he puts it away, or will it get strange disappearing out of nowhere? No, so I think what we need to do, that's why we're making note, Mari, is that we need to make sure that it's clear that he like turns it off and sticks it to his suit as we move through the scenes, right? Because at this point in my storyboard, which it's not clear that he even has it at this point, it's not clear when he puts it away. And that's mostly me just sort of, so it's clearly indicated in his hand here, but then when I did this shot, where did it go? Right. So Mari, we need to make sure that it's clear that he's still holding it in shot 2, he's still holding it in shot 3, and he puts it away in shot 4. So that will either be up to the storyboard artist or the animator to make sure that's indicated. And this is, they're still rough in this, and Milo even still has the cap on in these, which we also need to um, switch up. Hair out. Everybody's hair's out. Mari said, "Do you guys ship to Brazil?" I don't know. If we run a Kickstarter, we will see what that if that's something we're capable of doing. But I don't think we're going to limit ourselves now. And if you contribute, when we get there, we're not there yet. I think we're a little ways away from there. We will make sure to see where we can send things to. But all right. Storyboard artist, aren't you the storyboard? Yes, I am. I just want to make it sound like we're a big team, Crystal. We're a team of a bunch of people. Yeah. Nick, how are the storyboard going? Oh, they're going great, Nick. Is there anything you'd like to give me, Director Nick? Oh, well, as the director, I'd like to say you really need to focus on making sure Milo puts away that thing in shot, what is it, 4? Oh, that's a great idea. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate the notes. You're welcome. You're a really good storyboard artist. You're a really good director. No. Sorry. No. Yeah, it's all an illusion, Crystal. It's all an illusion. No, but I don't know. We might get to a point where we have some other folks come in, and a lot of animators these days are sort of like storyboard, sort of, like, hey, rough it out first. Don't commit anything to full frame movement until we know it works. So yeah. So Nick, just like my sister. All right. Where are we? So, what shot were we on?
So I'm right now on. If you want to take a look at where I am in the asset breakdown, you can take a look at where I am so far. So I can kind of run through what is happening, like when we were going through it, and what I've been doing too a little bit.
Okay.
So in that asset breakdown, you can see that in each
Wow.
time code, it breaks down by the character, by the special pose. I added one about expressions because sometimes what I'm seeing is that in certain like poses, they're doing specific expressions or it changes. So if an expression is consistent, we don't have to make a note of, oh, this like it changes, and only when it changes, like with Xena, where she is pretty much like focused and she's busy all the time when she's writing, so I don't have to make a note of, oh, okay, we need to make sure we like, oh, she's gonna be busy, so we don't have to repeat that every shot, but we can see from like from the second to the 7th second in the clip when we see her, but even as we continue on, she is still that like stern, focused look, and she's still busy, like with that expression. So with each shot, and then also pointing out when props are introduced. So when a prop is introduced, we can we place that in there. But as we go through and we see that the prop angle changes, what I'm seeing like or what I'm doing is that I'm saying like, okay, this is prop clipboard shot A, shot
Okay.
B. So then I know this prop is consistent so far because we are seeing them in multiple shots. But what we need to do um is like know how many times or if this would need a full turnaround if this prop is being showcased multiple times. If it's the one, we just put in like, okay, this is prop robot A, or like where we saw the AI, it's like, okay, this is the AI, this is the bot. If there's an expression to the bot, well, I don't know. Well, robots don't have expressions,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just more of like acted as a prop. So this is kind of like what I've just been doing as we were walking through, even with my own shot, and I'm looking through there too, just breaking it down by like who is in the shot, who's in the scene, what are they doing. So if it is an expression or like a special pose where it's pretty static. So like for instance in when we're getting further and Dina's yelling at Milo and Ace, she kind of stands with like both of her hands out with the pad there before we turn for her to actually point to Nate, who's on the ground doing like licking something. I was like, oh. When it starts to rest like saw that, I was like, oh god. But you see, she's having her hands out before she then points with the right arm, which is up, and we pan to then Nate. So if there is like specific action or motion, that is addressed.
Okay.
So just I feel like I've talked a lot.
No, it and this was something they were doing when you were at Netflix. This level of detail.
My shout out to Lamb, who is an art director at Netflix. She was my mentor, but she basically this was a workout we did as if you're like a production assistant. When you're a production assistant and you're working on like a film or TV series, this is kind of how they break down everything for like episodes or break down like in a film. You have to like go through shot by shot, frame by frame, and you have your character reference sheet. So I have like the document pulled up, but I also wrote down on a little notepad of the characters' names. So then, as I'm going through and as I'm keeping track, I know like okay, this is Ace. What is he doing? Did any of his expressions changes? So it's like when um Audra
Mm-hmm.
speaks, they turn. So like okay, that's a pose. We need to see them in almost like a 3/4 back turn and they're pretty shocked. But then when he's talking to Audra, it's like yelling. So we see like there's a moment where it's he's like like even though both of them were saying at the same time, he's almost like yelling like Audra, like what? And so we know that that's going to be a significant pose that is needed for the designers to then understand like with this needs to be we need to make sure that we see a pose of what it looks like when he's yelling versus when Milo is yelling
Mm-hmm.
because they're not yelling per se, they're more confronting, but the way to describe the action of the pose is more yelling because usually when we yell we sometimes use a lot of our chest and move forward a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially with how animated his position is. Um, but it's only when there
I
are
think they're
things
cooling.
when it's not even just like the subtle things, but just when there is a change that is to be addressed.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
so
This,
yeah.
yeah, this is one of those somewhat I wouldn't say secret. One of the pieces that you don't hear about unless you're on the inside or and I'm sure somebody came up with this as a tool to solve a problem and they don't think about it, right? Because when we as the folks outside of the you know we've been scrappy independent animators or working outside of the system, you hear about storyboarding, yes, and your instructors even tell you about storyboarding. I have never had an instructor say that you need to go through and make a list like this because it makes total sense, right? Especially when you've got a team of folks to have this level of detail. Because now I can kind of, as a creative, not really turn my brain off, but I don't have to think so much about what I'm less apt to forget something, right? As I'm drawing through, right? Oh, I know I need to do this. And then as we plan and design, because there's nothing more difficult than trying to make up a new pose and expression for a character on the fly, right? I've never drawn the character like this, saying this or doing this. Now I need to make sure it's consistent, and you draw it over and it gets frustrating and you're spending so much time, but really you're supposed to be thinking about the scene as a whole and you get stuck on this one pose. And so as we go through and lock in these designs, I think it'll help to speed me up in terms of like storyboarding. And then, we can kind of settle in on the language. And then when we go to animate, which, yeah, how where do we want to end up? I'm thinking Steven Universe, TV show level animation, not Aaron Blaze Snow Bear level animation. You know what I mean? Like, is there? How do they address? I guess frame. Where we hold, and maybe I'm
So,
digging too deep in.
like, it's easy to delegate to when you have the list. When you have the list, from what my mentor has shared before, it is easier to delegate because
Mm-hmm.
then when you have, like, let's say you're doing a TV production and you have typically you like a TV production. I had a mentor, shout out to Zaria, who is a character designer and animator. She's awesome. Super cool. She was my very first animation mentor ever, and I love her. And she taught me everything. So typically you'll be given an assignment, and your director will give you basically all the things that they're going to need within 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks because television is faster because you have to get episodes out, and they're probably when a season is already out, they're working on the next season. So your director will then talk to the designer. This would be the background artist, color artist. This could be character designer, prop designer, whoever's assigned to who. When you're given this list, they can then assign it to who needs to work on what. So if you have a character designer that's strong with poses, be like, okay, we need a. Or usually most of the time you will have like typically one or two character designers for a television series. So you would give them like this shot of like, okay, this is the character that we need. This is these are the poses that we're looking for. This just gives a little like a short synopsis of who the character is, and so once with all the information that they give them to the designer, they take this information and then also with any other sources they have. So if the director who was in charge of the show already have like the guides of like roughs of what the character already looks like, they take that and then apply it into the cleanups, into like the shot items that needed before they like put it in before they package up everything to be shipped overseas for the animators to reference. So basically the designers are like they are the reference builders pretty much, but it's just more clean and refined. We can actually see exactly what characters are going to be like look like when what they look like when they're surprised, when they look like when they're sad, when a character is talking. And sometimes they can take a snippet if it's storyboard driven, they can take a snippet of like the storyboard and do specific scene cleanup, so they can actually see like what they look like in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're doing like a prop comparison, so if you have usually this is like a lot of the guidelines for like if for us it's going to be like that ship. So Milo might be, I don't know, like 4 heads tall, but this ship is really huge. So that is then they can like the animators will have a way to then reference and see what is it compared to scale versus like Milo, who's like this small character, but we have this big ship. So when you animate it, it's gonna have to be this big and make sure that he's that tall.
Yeah.
So then again, it's just that consistency is there.
That what that brings to mind, and I noticed from there was a Steven Universe character sheet, and I've encountered it here. You have to have those simplified distance shots of the characters, right? So you've got the detailed version of when they're close up, but then you really do have to design what does the character look like when they're like little on screen, because you can't put in all those details. But and at first I was like, no, I just draw the character, I just zoom in and I draw the character regular and then I zoom out. And then all of that stuff, it makes the whole thing muddy. Whereas like what I've been trying to do now is like have a simplified small version of what's going on. Hey Pax, we are broadcasting our production meetings. Um, um, Fred and brain fart. Fred and Brianna are day one with me and Turtledust. Brianna is a character designer primarily on the projects we've worked together on. Fred has been assistant animator, has worked with me on webcomic projects for nonprofits. And so we have been silently Turtledust Media since 2022. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, the illusion is that, and I think I've mentioned that people ask, do you have a team? And I'm like, yeah, I have some people who work with me. These are the people, at least two of them. Um, and, uh, and so I was thinking that I could do this. I was foolishly thinking that I could do this myself. I always wanted to bring in them, but I also didn't want to, you know, what is I don't know. I wanted to be able to pay folks. So what we're doing now though is we are coming at this more collectively, and we're going to we're trying to set ourselves up to be positioned because we have been a group, an animation team, an animation studio for a while together now. And we've done a couple projects. I think we did BAE, which is the Black Animation Entrepreneurs. We did 3 seconds that we took to final. 4 seconds of animation that we took to kind of a rendered. And I showed Good News on the stream last night. People were kind of digging it.
Nice.
Oh, you're welcome. And so from that, then we moved on to this movie called In Betweening, which was really, I think, more than we bit off a little more than we could chew for the budget we had. 6 minutes of animation. We got about $3,000 budget from the production team. I think I covered some of it myself, but it clearly wasn't enough for 6 minutes of animation, and it ended up somewhere in between. Right? When you think in terms of quality, I, what ended up happening was the stuff we did was, I feel like, very professional. But when we ran out of it, yeah, what got done, there are some really good scenes, um, but by the end, I was kind of just cranking on my own to just get it over the finish line, and then the director outsourced lip sync to India, and it came back. Ugh, it was so terrible. The lip sync they put on, they did not even try to match the style that we had already kind of established. Um, and it's probably $500 worth of work that he paid the folks in, whatever it was. Shout out to Upstart Filmworks and Mel House. It was a really cool project. I wish Turtledust had had more internal resources to get it to where we wanted, because it looked, some of the first shots that we did, like where he gets sucked into the computer, where he's falling through liminal space. There's a shot where he's in the doctor's office. Beautiful, right? And that's what we were trying to achieve, but we just ran out of time. So, but we learned a lot from there. I think it solidified our working relationships, and now here we are. We have an opportunity to do it on our terms, do our project, and yeah. And Brianna has the most pro experience, and so she's bringing that to the team and sharing it with us while she has some time. So
No, I honestly, I like, what is it? I always like helping out as many people as I can, especially like being. I never really worked with this big studios, but I did broke that network, and I like learned a lot of things, especially within the animation pipeline. So um I always like value, like, instead of gatekeeping information,
thank
I
you,
always like
Jewel.
sharing it, because that's kind of what the industry is a little bit, is like it's a little bit gatekeeps, but knowing me is like, I would rather share this information rather than like it's kept under wraps, and it's like, oh, you gotta go through this person to this person to this one and to like understand how things work. So really excited to pretty much like just share about um this process because and also just shout out to also the all the amazing mentors that I have had that I still keep in contact with and still network with because they are the ones that really like almost like helped me understand too. So super excited to like bring that knowledge into the space and definitely love working with these guys. You know, I was with them my very first time in college, so being
Yeah.
here working on this project honestly is awesome, and I love working on anything with them
Yeah.
so much. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you said you've never worked with the big studios, but you interned at DreamWorks, right? Or with DreamWorks.
I did a fellowship with DreamWorks, which then actually, which was a funny thing. Any person that went through their fellowship program, I actually pitched to them and like pitched to them like a show that I want like as like a project because I was like I don't want to leave this experience like not just like yeah networking and talking to people, but I want to actually like work on something that's related to what I want to do, and I actually like pitched them a project of like if you do another cohort, you should like get them in teams and actually get them to create something
Mm-hmm.
like a like almost like a pitch bible and present it at the end of their programs, and they do that now.
Sweet.
They,
Sweet.
they do that. And some people that have been with Black and Animated that went through that program, they worked on that specifically,
That's
and
awesome.
they were able to share it. And I was like, okay, like that's so cool.
Yeah.
So
Crystal's asking if any of us are going to be at Afro Animation in Burbank. Not this year. I went 2 or 3 years ago. I did the virtual one in 2021, and
I
then I went and have you gone, Brianna?
I did the virtual. I didn't go in person.
Yeah.
I wanted to go in person because that's honestly the online one was how I was able to network with a lot of people that were also like indie. But I always want to go in person, but I did the one that was virtual.
Yeah. I went in person the following year. The first year they went live because I think they started virtual because of the pandemic. And then I went in 2023. And so, but next year, when this film is uh, in their showcase, we will try and get there for sure. So, who are the other people on the panel? Magnus, so Brianna is the our I'd say a character designer, and
That's right.
Fred is our uh, cleanup artist and assistant animator, in betweener. Um, yeah, we we in this group, I'm given these titles, but really it's a jack of all trades when you're this small. And then we have uh, Moonlight is Crystal's asking what is your at, Brianna, if you want to drop it in the
Oh
chat.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, Brianna's gonna drop her thing, her stuff in the chat. You can take a look.
I've
But
been on TikTok for a while, y'all. So there's a lot of I do like a lot of just speed drawing content, but also just trying to get I gotta get back to posting. There's
yeah,
been so many changes with TikTok, but
and
yeah, feel free to follow. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And so we had also talked about this being a brutally open and transparent process, right? Like, here's the thing with From a Distance. It is not a super original idea. So I'm not worried about um protecting it. And if you know what I mean, like don't steal it and be like, "Hey, I made it. I'm the one who made it. Nick didn't." But the idea is that like we want you all to be in here with us, right? See exactly what we're doing. So Brianna will be sharing any work she does on this project on her channel if she chooses to. Fred will be sharing anything he does on the project on his channel. If they are working, they are free to live stream what they're doing, um, like the same way I live stream as I'm working through the project. And because the game has changed, right? The game is like we no longer, um, there is still a lot of productions that sort of work on pieces, they, but we want to make this one transparent. I've got projects that I would work on behind the scenes because it's, you know, very passionate. And I don't want to see people, don't want people to see how that sausage is made. But for this one, you know, it is, we're going to put it out there for all of you to understand how this all comes together and get a very realistic view of what it takes to make even small animation projects. I took way too long to start networking it with animation folks. Watching other folks making their indie films inspired me to finally start mine. Yeah, Crystal, and you're in the Discord with us, so we got your back. And you know, yeah, I signed that NDA. So when we're ready to go, we can support you through getting your film over the finish line as well. So, are Black Animation Summits and conferences useful in your opinion? Yes, yes. Here's been my journey. And moving forward, um, I don't want to go to them without something in the conference, right? Like if I attend a conference from here on out, my films, my productions are going to be in whatever showcases that they're doing. I going there and just being an observer for me it doesn't feel right. So, but they are essential to getting to know who is doing what and how. You make relationships, you make connections, you get understanding from these conferences, you get perspective. So they are extremely useful for just sort of like getting a true sense of what the animation industry is all about. Because I think a lot of people have this, and Brianna, you can speak to this as well. This sort of like imagined La La Land that is animation, right? We imagine they're making these fanciful cartoons, so they must all be fanciful people. But what you're going to find is there's business people, and there's all the personalities that you experience everywhere else are there, and sometimes it can be a little bit more, you know, if there's a lot of ambitious and passionate people, and it can sometimes be, I don't know. When I got there, I was expecting everybody to be like charm. There were a lot of people who were mean to me for no reason, or brushed me off, or ignored me completely, and that is just part of the game. So, but yes, please go to those, check out what you can. If you're in the LA area, you are at the crossroads of where that all is at. What's been your experience in terms of conferences, Brianna?
So I never been to an in-person conference for animation. Actually, I will be selling at two conventions this year, so that's really exciting. But the one thing that I definitely can say about conferences, they are important for networking. That's really cool, and actually get to see the and like actually get to see like what they're working on because it's a great way to really like expose yourself to who's out there, what's being worked on, what is kind of like out there for artists, especially, and also just creators too, like what they're making. But the one thing too that a lot of my mentors shared with me too is that after, it's always the after of what happens when you do after the convention and what you do. So you made
Yes.
all these network, you made all these connections, but if you don't follow up, then it's that you're in kind of in that weird space where it's like, oh god, I don't know, like it's like, oh, I don't want to reach out to them because it's been so long. And just reach out.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They're okay. But I think conventions they're really good to not only just network, but also just to see like what will spark your inspiration and what sparks like um yeah, just like to see also other artists that are passionate and like love different things too. Um, One thing that I always love doing too is like if I get inspired by a show, I always immediately go to IMDb, look up the artist, so then I can actually see like kind of like their style of art, but also get a sense of how they were able to not even just land into where they are, but also just to see what they actually can create, and what they do create. Because sometimes and you probably hear this a lot, is that in the industry they always say, like, you need to have a specific style. They're always looking for a specific style. But you don't want to be a jack of all trades. So that's always the running thing of, like, you want to have a specific style, but and be able to do multiple styles, but you can't really do a lot of, like, be a jack of all trades. But what is the shift now is that because of what's going on with, like, AI and everything, I think it's just very important too to know that creativity is never going to stop. Creativity is always going to be the center phase of how other things are created, because a robot cannot give the same, like, feel and excitement as when people watched Disney when it was in the Renaissance era, or when they watched, like, an anime and it was like it was like a really up scene that they've seen from, or when they read the mangas and they're, like, at, like, a really turning point in the art. You can't get those moments. And so being able to actually, like, do, like, showcase that creativity, but also just sharing to the world, like, what you envision, what that looks like to you, and sharing that to the world, I think is gonna be the biggest thing, and not only just the biggest turning point, but what's gonna keep the animation industry alive. Because indie right now is like almost like dominating the
Yeah.
space, because they're accepting creativity, they're accepting imagination.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, in I'm not going to say bigger studios are kind of failing at it, but originality is what's driving the industry right now. And if you have a story you like to share, if you have, like, anything you want to present to the world, this is definitely, like, I won't even say this is the time. It's always been the time, but this is definitely the time, because people are looking for that originality. People are looking for that creativity, that imagination, like something that is different than what's already out there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a little bit of my 2 cents. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
just rambling.
No, and that's true. So I'm going to jump to the comments really for a quick second. So New Light, I'm not sure if I fully understand the question, but she said, "Do you believe modern agenda is not the problem, but it depends on how it writes when it comes to animation?" So I, I'm not sure what you mean by modern agenda, but writing is always the key to any successful production. And if the writing isn't solid, the whole production kind of struggles. But um, Digital Circus by Glitch Studios, which started on YouTube and got huge, decided to put their finale in theaters, and that exploded. Completely exploded. My kids are like, "Oh, Amazing Digital Circus is going to be in the theaters. We need to get tickets," right? They have upended this thing. And then you're like, Digital Circus is getting this great theater run, and Disney drops art for their latest film, and everybody's like, man. Like, the reaction to Disney is not even so. It's like the studios have got to figure something out. I mean, Disney has had this before, this dip in their popularity. Just before Lion King dropped, they were at a very low point. And I think they're there again because decisions there aren't being made the way they're being made for the people who are creating content for YouTube. We are, as independent animators and YouTube first creators, we can follow memes and trends much more rapidly than Disney, and that's where people are. There is a YouTube animation analysis document floating around the internet now. If no one is, did you guys see that? I downloaded it and printed it, but they are saying how YouTube animation is upending the animation industry, and how people watch animatics the same way they watched finalized or completed work at the same rates, and that people don't see them as a part of. They see them as just as entertaining as the completed stuff. And so, if you're working on work, you don't have to wait for it to be done to put it out there in the world. The same way the old studios would take a theater, send out random tickets to individuals, and do focus groups on, like, you watch the movie in its early stages. What do you think about XYZ? We can do that in real time now on YouTube. You put your animatic out there and it gets a bunch of views. You're going in the right direction. If it flops, then maybe you need to change something up or try a different idea. And so it's great to have that at our fingertips and to be exploring that. And I'm encouraged. The reason I've going live with this project and seeing people's reactions to the film, which I wouldn't mind showing folks who are on the stream now what we're working towards. The reactions I've been getting has really been encouraging me, like, okay, this can work. And occasionally I come across projects and I'm like, wow, this is really similar to what I'm doing with From a Distance. But that is also something that shouldn't discourage you, because the way one person interprets a family moving through space is different from what I'm going to do, right? And so whatever your vision is, if you're somebody's like, oh, well, that's a lot like this one, just keep going. Your interpretation of it is going to be different and give a different perspective, and there are going to be different groups of people who resonate with what you're doing versus what somebody else is doing. We are not big studios competing for a limited amount of viewers to get into a limited amount of theaters on a limited release schedule. We are all creating content for one another, and so there's plenty of room. So this is what we are working on, and we'd love to hear what you think.
But Brianna's been cracking away at this cell dock.
Yeah.
Now that's 149, 153 marker. Literally at the end, we got props, spaceship, flying, effects.
Yeah. Cool. I'll check it out.
This will be super helpful because when I'm going in here, especially on Cyan, direct to the ship as it's going to come through and come across, it'll tell me exactly how everything's going to be on the screen. How the timing is how the way you draw and the guide you're playing and all that stuff.
Hold on. I can't hear you, Fred. Hold on. Sorry. Let me pause.
That's Cyan or Sienna. I may have the names wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Let me back up. So I think this is Cyan and this is Sienna.
Okay, I have them right. Okay, cool. I was just guessing.
Sorry, Fred. Usually I can usually do both at the same time. But let me play this through for folks, and then we'll get back to it.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Oh no. Good morning, and thank you, Gigi Reeds.
children eating?
They eat cereal for breakfast.
Okay.
What time is that?
Probably around like
I think I have
8 or
the
9.
shot that we need. I just wanted to double
You making pizza?
to go back and just backtrack and see
Making pizza?
what is missing.
Yeah, so let's see. All right, so awesome. So as we identify, so you've got the time code. Do we also
I
want?
change the time. I was gonna say if the time codes are off, please feel free to change them, or I can change them.
Can we also add in a column maybe that says which shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Do that.
All right. Because I think I have information that so I don't know if I have start times because I tend to work frame versus time.
This is mostly because it's just like from the video, but if we want to
Okay.
do it by the frame or like frame by frame, we can do that too. This
Yeah.
is just a way of like when I was watching back the video, I can put if someone is referencing the animatic like video, this is just like yeah, if you're referencing like the animatic like the video, you can actually if somebody's looking at it themselves when looking at this, they can go to that specific timestamp to then reference what is addressed.
Okay. Excellent.
So yeah, but if we want to change it to like scenes, we can do that too.
I think we need. I honestly feel like we probably need all three, right? So if you let me show you. So in the main shot list, so I have frame, start frame, so it's 24. So you could technically, and then if you actually, I kind of have it. So at 10 seconds, no, wait, did I? No, I don't. So I have the start frame, right? So that tells you, and you can kind of do the math to figure out like this is where it is. But I can go. So what I can do is if we put it in a column in that sheet for shots, I can look at that and I can add which shot is associated with this block of time, and then I can put in the more precise information. So what do we say? So time code, shot, and then frame. I think we need one more column that's like frame, start frame. Are you anonymous koala, Fred? Or are you anonymous koala, Brianna?
Start and end frame.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm also going back to just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I'm just going back and just looking and seeing if there's anything that I missed, anything that needs to be tweaked, adjusted. Sometimes I change the expression names or like the expression names sometimes because I have like a list of expressions that I go by of like helping a better way to describe like when someone is feeling something or like need to showcase in a specific emotion or expression.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Do we want to? So, Cena walking, special pose. So, if I'm a person who's going to use this, is this how do I?
So this is okay. So the way that somebody would do this. So like if I went through this, I would go to the sheet. If we have like the shot reference, it'd be like okay, this is like where it's pulling from. We state the character. They will already have like the characters like lineup. So I saw on your website you have like it's a drawing of all the characters, and I was able to label them out. So when they see, if we're talking about Xena, I can then go to that character sheet and be like, okay, this is Xena. And then with the pose, it would be like, okay, she's writing. So if she's writing, I need to make sure I go to the timestamp. I need to go to this timestamp at 2 seconds. I see Xena and shot and like at the 2 second mark, and she is writing. And
Okay.
then like with the details that are given, it's like, okay, the what I need to draw her as is she's busy, she's focused, she's pretty occupied with her work, but at the same time she is looking down, so she's not, like we said, but she's not paying any sort of mind or any attention. And the prop that is needed for this character is it's a clipboard. So this is one of the shots that we see, like the clipboard. Oh yeah, that one at the very right there, right there, right there.
Uh,
If you scroll back down,
this one.
where everybody was standing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, that's the image I use, and then I write down. I wrote on there or typed in there who is who, so somebody will reference that sheet or reference this in particular, because when you have other episodes, you kind of already have the premise of like character lineups and everything, so then that would be a way, but we can reference this for now. So I look and it'll be like, okay, Xena is the one, like Layla Xena, so that is the mom. From shots two, or not shots, but from 2 to 7 seconds, her expression needs to be busy, but she also, a pose that we need to make sure she's in is that she is writing.
Okay.
Sometimes we can also add in additional notes of like for instance, she's not only just writing, but she's also walking. So that is some. What is it? One of my mentors shared before is like, if it's like pretty obvious of what it is, we don't need to rewrite it. But if it helps us, like to know, like, okay, not only is she writing, she's also walking and she's busy. So then we know like what exactly is going on.
Okay. So this for as a like I'm an animator on shot 2, and I know I've been assigned to animate Xena shot 2. I would come here. I would be able to find shot 2 Xena, because maybe we need to reorder this.
Yeah.
And then shot 2 Xena, and then I can see all the action Xena's going to do at what particular time. So as I animate out, I make sure that at whatever time frame I hit that expression or that pose and ensure that that prop is there.
Right.
Okay.
So this also is also, but the way that the animators they will do it this way, but they will have all of the assets completed. So
Okay.
your character design, your prop designs, and like effect stuff is already completed. So what the animators will be referencing is those is like the
Oh.
studio asset sheets. So all, like for examples, like Teen Titans, we saw they have, you have the character, they have the turn back, you have the color script, and you also have the close up. So that is what the animator will be referencing. This
Okay.
is a way for the designers who are going to be assigned to whichever pose can reference the animatic or storyboard for them to understand
What they
what
need to
needs
deliver.
what they need to deliver in order for the animators then when they look at the same stuff they already have all those clean assets so they can just reference it and be like, okay, when I'm doing a rough animation pass, I have the asset file of what the prop is going to look like. I have the special pose of what it looks like when she is when she is writing and she looks busy. So when they come to the animators, they already have those assets down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes. So.
But we can
So.
also use it for when we can also use it like when we also are animating too. Again, we can change this however we want to. And if anyone in this live is confused, I swear
No.
this is just like
No.
I'm always trying to make sure it makes sense.
So.
No, I
What?
get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this means that you have two different sides. You got the illustration side and you got the animation side. Before anything is established in pre-production, you're going to have this list to determine what assets are going to be made And once that's completed, then you'll have the other side of pre-production where the animators already have the finished assets and they say go. And if there's any kind of special gadgets, magic, whatever, the animators already have that design finished to reference.
Yes. Yeah, and it just clicked to me as well. So, so do we need a column that says complete or done?
That would be helpful. I think that would be helpful because then it would keep us track of what is already completed, what is already done, and like for instance, if like now like taking from this and like that document you have of like, okay, these are the props that we're gonna need. We already addressed them in here. These are the characters that we need. So once we have like the character sheets and everything with like the specifics, and pretty much like the blueprint, really, then we can use the like using that checklist as like, okay, when an animator gets started, okay, I need to animate Xena writing, but she looks and she needs to look busy, but she needs to use the shot, like she needs to use the clipboard. So I need to now, but the good thing is that I have everything and it's already been done. So all I need to do is just go to whichever asset folder I need to reference and get what I need to get started, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe strip it at the far right, or maybe the far left to show that it's completed. And if
Maybe
it's
the
not
far
filled
left.
in,
Yeah.
if it's not filled in, or if it's not color coded, then it can just be empty.
Yeah.
It'll be like a status tracker. So, oh yeah, fun fact, I was also a project manager in tech, so that's kind of falls
Yeah,
up my alley.
that did not escape my mind. That this is a lot like what you were doing with your design work and technology. To like, because you were a product designer in that, like, yeah, I need your product design skills here too. So Black Ice Node said, "Sorry, I just done my daily expenses." I'm not sure, but good to know. Oh, we all probably need to do our taxes. If you haven't, you have 2 days.
Already did.
Oh,
So
sweet. So, so status, and then I think we're also going to need a column that is like, oh, what was it? What was it I was thinking? Oh, that maybe because we're going to have to set up a folder structure, which I'm also going to need to share with you all. So right now, I have this from a distance folder that I need to give you all access to. Um, and that's why I created Workspace. So one of the things that Workspace has is shared drives. Do you guys use Google Drives? So with the shared drives, you could potentially synchronize the shared drive to your computer so that you can drop your dailies or your completed things just in there on your local computer, and it'll synchronize it back up to the bigger project. But in this folder, I'm thinking I have this assets folder, which right now is a total mess. But what I'll do is I can do it by character. And this is where we will put like the expression sheets and then should it be, how would this folder structure, how would you suggest the folder structure be lined up with the spreadsheet?
So with the spreadsheet, the way that we can organize it, because you're gonna almost be like folder within a folder within a folder, and this is why like the naming is gonna be important. So if we're needing to access the folder, like we have really three folders. We have character, we have prop, and we have effects. So those are the three folders that we're gonna be like that are gonna be like the main place. In the character folders, each character is gonna have their own specific folder. And then once that is done, we can then put all the characters, like whichever file is associated with that character, is in their appropriate file. So if we need to then say like, okay, we need to animate a shot of Milo who is frustrated, but I need the assets sheet to reference what he looked like frustrated. I would just then go to characters, Milo, and then look for the expression sheet, and the expression sheet also should be labeled of what it they look like when they're upset, when they're happy, when they are excited, when they're shocked. So then we know, like, okay, this is what he needs to look like when he is frustrated or like when he's upset. So now I have what I need when I go into animating. I can use that as the quote unquote reference.
Okay.
Um,
So assets, and then let's say this is mom's folder. I'm going to rename this to say mom dash Cena. Right. And then under that, I would have a folder that would then be folder. You said expressions, or
if you want to make it break up into like if we want to break it up where it's like, okay, we have our expressions folder, we have our special poses, and that's pretty much it. That's the only two really differences in
Yeah.
this. If we want to do it, that's fine.
Okay.
Unless like naming is going to be important.
Okay. So if we can make I prefer flat folders, right? So maybe all the
Yeah.
files that are expressions are expressions slash whatever the expression is, then we don't need a bunch of subfolders because sometimes you want to look at them in comparison to one another. So I like the idea. I'm just going to rename this as backup BK, and then I'm going to clear out this folder. I'm going to move all this in, but I'll do that later. So let's then just think about naming convention. So if we go to, let's see, character, let's see. So this is a characters folder. So we have, what's the naming convention for a expression sheet? So let's see.
So, and what is it? You always have to lead with the name of the show
Okay.
first. So that'd be abbreviated. So that would be for us is like at a distance, AAD.
Oh.
Oh no,
From a
sorry.
distance.
No.
So fad.
Wait.
From a distance.
Yep. That. Yep. Mm-hmm. So you'll have the name of the show. You would then, if in brackets, you could then put like if we're doing specific shots, we don't have to. Well, in this case, we don't have to. We then will say the asset name. So in this case, this is character, so that's CH.
Okay.
So for us, it would be FAD CH, which means that this asset is for characters. The next thing would be the name of the character that we're referencing here. So yeah. So then like let's say Zeta. So then after we have the name, we either if it's all the expressions in one sheet, all we would then just do is what is it? Oh Lord. It's either we can then put after the name of the character. I might have this backwards. So wait, I might have this backwards. Okay, so the name of the show, the asset, not the shot number yet.
No, not yet. Because Xena's expressions could cross multiple shots.
Right. So if we have like expressions A, if we have multiple sheets of her expressions, we can then split it up with like A, B, C, pretty much. So if there are going to be multiple like expression sheets for a specific character, we can then break it up that way.
Okay. So show name, asset type, character name, sheet. Ooh.
It could be. Yep, this should be the sheet.
Sheet type.
Yep, sheet name, and then if we have any like multiples, then you would add the number. Think Inc. We love organization. And standardized naming conventions. We love that. Oh god. You should see my calendar.
Yeah.
And how I organize my files.
No, this is right. So project, asset name, character name, sheet name, and then version.
Yes.
Cool. And would it be the same essentially for almost all of these assets? Like lineup?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, it would be pretty much the same for all of these assets. So we would Just follow that structure. The only thing, working as a TD, it was such an uphill battle to make sure everyone uses them. So honestly, like I was not a TD, but I was definitely a product manager, and I understand how that is,
Yeah.
especially when working with engineers. Um, but like making sure engineers understand, like you gotta keep things organized.
Yeah, communication, collaboration, and documentation are the secrets to most projects. And people refuse to do that last one, which is document, you know. And so,
Are you done with that compliment?
Okay. So okay, yeah. So the name of the show, the asset name, character name, sheet name of the person. Because then when we start getting into numbers, this is then going in, but that's more specific of like shop cleanups, or even you if you're doing a series, you would then incorporate like the series number, like the season number and the episode number. But in this case, we don't have to do that. If we
okay.
are making an actual TV show, then we will incorporate. Okay, this prop is for, if it's pilot, it's going to be 00. So 00 for the season, or well, no, it'd be like more like season one. So it'd be like, okay, season one 00 or 01, episode number episode one in this case.
Okay.
So that though is if it goes into the series, then you can incorporate like those points. For yeah, for this, I don't think we would.
Yeah.
Um,
Not yet.
yeah, I don't. No, we won't need that. No, not yet.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
but here's the plan. So,
yep.
if we can get this short done, I've done a number of TikToks, and if it's bringing something in, because I wouldn't want to also like, uh, force you guys to work on all my stuff, and not have you all reap some sort of benefit. But I, in terms of just going back, if we can, and if we wanted to make something bigger, I wanted to take all those old TikToks and make those into little shorts, and sort of build out a bigger project that we can send to longer form thing to festivals and whatnot. But
Okay.
for now, I'm very focused on making sure that we have a working structure, and that it can. I'm really trying to be more business minded and less, like I love the creative piece, of course, but what I'm starting to realize is that we're getting left in the dust by the business folks. All right, the folks who are business minded are kind of zooming past us, and so I want to make sure that we, you know, posting it on our channels to get YouTube revenue, posting it on TikTok to get TikTok revenue. So I'm making like 2 cents an hour from streaming live on TikTok, which is more than nothing. But getting a check for like $6 from TikTok monthly is pretty cool, and it all just goes to pay for things like the Google Workspace, the subscription to Clip Studio Paint, and it's covering stuff like that. So,
All right.
cool.
So I added a column in the forum with like assigned to. So when I was a PM, we always had, and I might gonna use this too. I'm gonna create this in Airtable. So if we want to like get access of
Yeah.
what exactly is going on and who, so fun fact. So as a PM, you would like need to make sure like everybody understands like who they're assigned to, but also keeping a status of where everything is. So then if it can move in the pipeline smoothly. So if we have, say we're doing a sprint in tech would take about 2 weeks to get done.
Yeah.
And we're working on a project, and everybody is assigned to their specifics. So, like the designer will be assigned, then you have your engineers of who's going to be working on what, and you have your deadline, and we would track it in a tracking system. So that's Jira or Monday.com or that's Airtable. I like Airtable because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Or ClickUp is free, but it's a way for everyone to know like who's working on what, where is the status of everything. If something is done, we can then confirm it, and then we can be able to push this along. So with this, I just added a column in the status tracker of like who's it assigned to.
It,
Now, I don't know if we're gonna have specific due dates when things are gonna get done, but
I
if we want to incorporate that.
I think we should, and I also like the idea of sprints. Now, do you want to put what you're doing, all this effort you're currently putting in now, into this Google document? Because Airtable is the industry standard. I recently applied for a associate producer job over at Glitch, and the two pieces of software they wanted you to be familiar with are ShotGrid and Airtable. I was like, oh, well, I could figure it out. So I'm wondering if we don't want to migrate to Airtable from this to something, I don't know.
So the cool thing about Airtable and like what we're doing in the Google this spreadsheet is that it's convertible. So whatever you're doing in the spreadsheet in Google Docs, it can then convert into Airtable.
Okay.
So it's a way that you can quickly integrate what you are working on, and even it can attach to like your Google Drive files. So that if let's say we're adding into Airtable, hey, like what you were talking about, like with ShotGrid, because that's pretty much what's happening here. Of now we can assign the animators like, okay, hey, we need you to go in here. We assigned you with it will be like a ticket number in tech, but it'd be like, okay, this is the shot that we assigned you. My software is called it's called Real in Motion. Cool, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing me. So basically, be like, okay, we assigned you with this shot. We send them the link. They will have everything they need from the assets, the description of what's going on, the shot like information and everything. So pretty much like you're laying what we have in that spreadsheet you have is pretty much you're laying out all the information to them in Airtable. Like, okay, this is the shot. This is the scene. This is what you need to reference for this specific scene. This is how long and how many frames it needs to be. So laying all the specifics out, and then they would once it's ready for the reviewing, they can then just drop in the file in Airtable and be like, okay, this is now ready for review. So then that alerts you and let you know, like, okay, now I can access the file that they input in there.
What's
If
up,
that's a
Fetty?
shared link, if that is if it's a share link, if it's a draft, you can then like do that. And so then if it's ready and passed, we can then change the status like, okay, this is approved, this is ready to go. Or if it's not, you can then there'll be a status of like, okay, this needs to go, this needs to be back because you have like director's notes. So you read the notes that I provided you. I'll tell to reach out. They will offer it for free for this production. Worth checking out.
Wow. Real in Motion. Are you familiar with Real in Motion?
I've heard of it, but it is like ShotGrid, like is it real? Is it Real Motion?
Real in Motion. Is this asset management for your creative? Yeah. Okay. Ink, that would be awesome. If we would use it, we would learn to use it, and we would. Cool.
It's brand new. I've been consulting on it for the last year. Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. That's so cool.
Cool.
So yeah, if we can, that would be like fantastic. And
Yeah.
I would love you forever.
Yeah, I played around with ShotGrid, and it's pretty cool. And I like the idea that you can view, you could upload video of the piece that you're working on and review it, or you can watch the whole thing. And so, one of the downsides of Google Sheets is that on my shot list, I wasn't able to put motion, right? I thought maybe I would at least be able to put like GIFs in here so you'd be able to see it cycle through the shot. But we weren't able to get that. I wasn't able to get that functioning. So a tool like Reel in Motion or Shot Grid would make it, I think, a little bit more real time. And yeah, we would be able to get some attention to their software if they were able to work with us. Yeah, we built it so that you can use it out of the box without the need a TD set it all up. Oh, cool. Awesome. Ink. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We should maybe add Ink to the Discord so we can continue our conversations. Stay in touch with us. Let us know. That would be awesome. Yeah. So I think my assignment, maybe we should set down some dates for what we need to do next.
Yes.
I have a base color script that I put together. I think I posted it on Discord. I just use the contact sheet feature in Adobe to essentially output these individual frames. I think the resolution is pretty high. Yeah. So, yeah. And so essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do drawovers for each of these individual frames, try and add some what I imagine the lighting and mood should be. And I think that, how much time should I give myself? I want to say a month, but I don't know if we have that amount of time. Should I maybe focus in on shop 4 first?
So
But
I think this is my question. What is, when in tech we say like MVP? That's like, what is the main thing? So what is considered, like, what is your kind of deadline, or like what is the date that you have in mind for when you want everything done?
okay, so that is not until October. But
Okay,
here
so that,
is a intermediate deadline. Hold on, just a second, Brianna.
great. Now I'm getting all techie, so please,
No,
please don't mind.
this is amazing because it is a creative project, but I approach it as though it is software development or software, because computer science, right? And so everything is what I apply at work, I apply here, and what I apply here, I apply at work. And project management is project management is project management. So let me pull up. So the new next film festival for 2026 currently has its
From kitchen.
submission
Lunchtime.
open. Submit a film to us. The actual festival is going to be October 14th, but they have an early deadline, which I was pushing to try and get ready for, which is April 30th. So my goal, because I had an unrealistic unrealistic, which what I do is I set unrealistic goals for myself and I shoot as hard for it as I can, and then if I land anywhere, I'm further along. But I was aiming to try and have a rough animatic that I could submit to the festival by the 30th. But we have really until like I'd say mid-June to have a pretty solid animatic.
Gotcha.
And then I want to submit that animatic to the festival saying that by October 1, we could have a somewhat completed project.
Okay. So
I mean,
October 1st is when it's complete, but the animatic
um,
will be done when?
animatic say June 15, and the project actually not October 1, but October. What is it's September, October? Yep, September 15th.
Okay, September 15th for the full, and then okay, so September 15th for the full. June. You said June 15th
15th,
for the
yeah.
animatic.
Yep. Then that'll give us 3 days to package it and submit it. And then, from there, they'll decide. If they decide, like, yeah, this is cool, we are rooting for them to finish. We've accepted you into the festival, um, contingent on the completion. Then we are locked into that September deadline. If they don't take it, then we have a little bit more wiggle room.
Okay.
But we should
So
still
this
sort of
gives us-
push for that deadline, personal deadline.
Okay. So we have split. Okay. So what we used to do at my old job, we split up. If a project is super big and we have like a max deadline, so kind of like this with the October date, we put it in phases. So we'll be focusing on phase A and then phase B, or phase one, phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
So phase one project is the animatic, which is June. So that gives us 3 months to have everything. Yeah, so that's 3 months of like work production things that we need to lead up to the animatic to be completed.
Yeah.
Um,
And what I imagine animatic would look like is low frame rate, cleanish line, um, not full color, right? The characters can be, Ace being full blue, but clear. You can see the whole story. The backgrounds are there, but it's still clearly in production. I'm not trying to get to full animation for the thing that we submit in, right? Does that make sense?
yes.
I guess maybe we can establish what that means to us or to the group in terms of like it's not really it's somewhere a little beyond an animatic that I want to see if we can get to by June.
Okay. So okay, that makes sense. So let me add something in here
Okay.
real quick. And once that, because I made a Real Emotion account. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Inc. And I just shared you and Fred to join a project. I'm gonna figure out how to set up everything pretty much, but I'm just gonna do it in here for right now. Where is my project tracker? I had it, and then it was gone. Let's see. I think I'm here. Because this was how I was able to track all of my work. Not that. I might have to.
Use the Hippie Bro email address or which one?
I sent it to your Hippie Bro. I sent it to that. And then Fred, I think I sent it to the King sites. Or
Yeah, I'm establishing my account right now.
perfect. Let me find. It's like a roadmap tracker. I don't remember what I did.
There's also apple carrot muffins that have raisins and walnuts in them. So
Actually, I'm just gonna insert the. Let's do some quick tables. I did not event planning, project management. Here we go. And then I did. Here it is. Okay, the whole Gantt chart. Oh boy. So let me add roadmap. That's prioritization. Let's put up this. Has to be saves. I think it was this. This was it. So we're saying. This is from a distance and then project, so let's call it like that. I'm gonna have the 2 phases right now. Okay, so now Okay, so we have 2 phases of this project. So instead of tasks, I'm gonna put phases. Or the project name first. So the that's
Not too strong.
that it. Status we have not started. So our start date would I'm just gonna make today. The end date of the project is the June 15th deadline. And then any notes here. And then we can attach the folder. Delete that. This was what I used to do. And then what is it? The only thing with Google was like if there's like a track of like updates or like anything that's like new, anything that is like blocking, I had to add that manually of like what is causing us to have it like not reach that deadline.
Okay.
Good enough?
Then we have full pilot.
Yeah.
So that's the full pilot. Right. Yeah, I guess full pilot. Spelling. Okay. That right now is considered a P1. That has not started. Let's say this is currently in progress.
Can you share your screen, Brianna? You're working on something that sounds pretty detailed. We're all like listening and watching, but not
No,
seeing
you're
it.
fine. Let me share my screen. So, okay. So now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so then everybody can kind of see what I'm doing here. And if any person's trying to get into project management, take this as a crash course. Let's just take this as a crash course today. So,
Hold on,
we
one sec.
are-
Let me.
So right now, what I've done.
Hold on. Let me share.
Okay.
Share you out to the world. Let's see here. Vertical.
Hopefully everyone can see what I'm seeing. Because I just shared my screen.
Yep. All right.
Okay, you good? Okay, Nick,
Yeah.
are you good on the live?
Yep. Can everyone see that? It's kind of small, but that's as big as I can.
But I
looking for coconut.
I can zoom in more if that would help. So I just zoomed it a little bit more.
I think it's up to me. All right, there it is.
There we go. Okay, so basically we have the two. So the project name right now have the name of the like basically the file, and then we have the pilot. So when we're talking about priorities, that just means like what is going to be our main focus for these two projects and where they are right now. So right now, biggest focus, which is 0, is what we need to focus on the most. So that is our main focus. Priorities can shift and change depending on where you are in the project. So for us right now, the animatic is our main priority as of right now because we are kind of starting the project today. So today is kickoff. The end date of this project is, and if this needs to change, please let me know. But the end of the project will be the June 15th. That's Monday. So that would give us roughly. I'm gonna add a comment to the left. And this will be basically our timeline. So when I do timelines, I split them out so it's like this project is going to take a month, it's going to take 2 days, it's a week, 2 weeks, so it's going to take a month. So we're looking at 2-3 months of production work, and our start date and end date, any notes that we have, and then if we want to link the folder file, we can add that at the end where deliverables are. So this is just us. This is just for us to keep wraps of where specifically it is when we are storing everything, so that we can access the file. The note here, this animatic needs to be completed for a film festival that's coming up.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say.
Yeah, I'm replying. I'm saying we're gonna put up. Eventually, we may put up a form so that folks who are interested in supporting can submit the form. Yeah, New Next Film Festival.
What's the name again? I'm sorry.
New Next Film Festival, Baltimore, Maryland. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me, Brianna. The TikTok can't. Yeah, it's called the New Next Film Festival. Sorry, guys, I was muted because there's a lot going on over here. But yeah, the festival is the New Next, Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
And yeah,
Then
yeah. So we're going to be putting up a form, and for folks who think they can contribute, we'll kind of identify where you think you can help, and so that we can sort of work you into the production.
so I'm going to add Nick here. So this is just also a way for me to know who I'm working with. I might change this to a drop down instead. I might do that. Let's do that instead. So instead of name, I'm going to do drop down instead.
We haven't made it yet. Cal, so Cal, this is, I've been soloing this for the last 72 to 27 weeks, and I went to my teammates and I said, I can't do this by myself. I need your help. And so today was our day one of strategizing on how we're going to do this as a team. And so what we come up with today is going to lead to a structure that will allow us to bring in more folks who want to help and contribute to this project getting done. And then we will make those available and then put it out there on the web for folks to jump in and support in whatever way they can. So keep an eye out for it. Yeah, we're excited that you're excited to potentially help us.
So then for the pilot, what is the milestone, or what is the objective for the pilot? Is that needed to be in for festival, or is that just like we are done, we've reached, like, this is ready to be published, to like push to the public?
Yes. So the initial ready for the festival first. If the festival doesn't take it, then we'll publish it to our social medias.
Okay.
This is so cool to listen into. I really, really want to see this project when it's all complete. LOL. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. We this is the piece that people, are often curious about, that kind of goes unseen. And with more and more people trying to do this stuff independently, I think it's making this part of our process. And I think we've always kind of done it this way. Just never at this level. We've all grown since the first time we worked together, I think.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's exciting. So,
All right. So now I got that. So that's the good thing. So now that we have the roadmap, this is kind of like the roadmap, and then from there we can then break it down by the actual sprints. So that's like 1 week, 2 week sprints, but that's now getting to the specifics. So we can take a duplicate of this. So
yeah.
then
So
we can also do this.
let's make our first sprint deadline April 30th. Because that's what I was sprinting to before.
Let's see if I can find. I did something with the sprints. This is the sprint. So we have the sprint name. This is sprint. So for this, okay, so this is, usually we give our sprints names. So let's say this is pre-production, so PE, and we're focusing on, we're specifically focusing on within the sprint for the next 2 weeks.
What's realistic? Character designs, because I think if we can get character designs locked in, then that will make cleaning up the animatic for June a lot easier.
Okay, so we can start that here in 2 weeks. So starting from today, we count from 2 the 30th. So that's the time. That's 2 weeks. And then we can break this up. Or this is the main sprint, but now what I will do is split this up into separate sprints. So this will include, and if I was in Airtable, I could do this, but I can do this in here too. So this is the main group. So we are looking at, I might make a column to the left. That's what I need to do. Make a column to the left and then build from there. So this is the project. So we have the sprint name.
Yeah, and so for all the folks who are usually used to us drawing on this in this live, this is a part of it, right? Like, this organization of the process. And do you follow Spivey, Brianna, on here?
I think so, yes. I'm gonna have to double check.
Yeah. Spivey posts a lot about the anime process, which he has studied quite a bit. And he takes us through it, but most people stream themselves drawing. We're streaming ourselves setting up the infrastructure too. So you can see the time and commitment you have to put to just setting the stuff up. And if you're not familiar with these tech terminologies, a sprint is just a short-term project. You're really, and a lot of times, let me slow down. In the past, projects were waterfall. And you're like, what does that mean, waterfall? Where we worked on this thing, and then when we completed it, we moved to this next thing, and then we worked on that, and then right? But in order to get to the big end goal, but none of those waterfall phases ever led to anything usable. Where with sprints, what we're trying to do is we are making small projects that actually lead to something, right? So at the end of this sprint, what you're going to see is we're going to be able to show you in our animatic, but with now integrated character designs, right? Even if they're rough, but we did these character designs, we incorporated into our animatic. So by the end of this sprint, you'll see you may see more consistent characters throughout each of the shots. So mom doesn't look like Susie here and then Jane here, right? She should look more consistent because we've sat down and we've established what her design is going to be. So, it's always been interesting, the Japanese production pipeline differences. Yep. Have all three of you gone to art school? No. I have a master's in fine art. Brianna, what is your...
My bachelor's is in computer graphic technology, with an emphasis in user experience. So I am self-taught.
Yep. And then Fred, you were thinking about going to art school? Still on in your plans? Fred might be off mic.
I think it's right back.
Okay. So, and Fred is right now self-taught. He's done a lot of independent study. But yeah, there's a mix of formal degrees and self-taught. King Sykes Art, so happy to see you're part of the project. Yeah, he's been there in the background. And I think sprints work great for pre-production. More people should try it. Yeah, it is. Oh, and Fred is typing BA in graphic design, focus on media. Nice. Yeah. So we got some education up in here. There's always been a huge misconception that you need art school to succeed in the industry. Yeah, but it is definitely a misconception. You just need stick-to-itiveness and some talent and more stick-to-itiveness. And then some organization, which is super exciting. So,
Okay. So this is like we kind of break down all that we need for like the characters, and this is a 2 week sprint. So anyone out there that's curious, so basically what we just did is now that everything is kind of organized and based off specific tasks, because every character that we're going to be making is a task, pretty much, that is involved in this. So now, based off of, not sheet, I just say set, because each set is going to require specific. So if it's an important character, that includes the expressions, the special poses, the model turn. If we're doing turnarounds, like that
Mm-hmm.
set is with them. So if you see character set, that just means that this is including everything, and I'll add that in the note in a sec. Of just adding the specifics of what is needed in the deliverable when it's ready to go. Um,
Okay.
so
Sorry to interrupt. Um, so after stating character sets, I think 2 weeks to do all of these characters is not feasible. So
and
why
that
don't go ahead
no, that's fine. So then, how long do you think we would then extend this
for
sprint?
for this sprint? Let's keep the sprint at 2 weeks, but
Okay.
focus mostly on the four primary characters: Mom, Ace, Milo, and Audra. I almost see Dad and Sienna and Cyan as sort of secondary, right? Because the central characters are Mom, Milo, Ace, and Audra.
Okay. So, okay, that makes sense. So basically, like what we can do is still incorporate the sprint. If something doesn't get done in a sprint, we can then move it to the next. So, for instance, if anything that is considered like P1, P2, P3, P1 is considered as high, P2 is like medium, and then P3 is low, we
Okay,
can move it to the next sprint because this is not important for that sprint as of
awesome.
right now. So whatever doesn't get done in this sprint, we can move it to the next. That's usually typically what happens. So because Sienna might be, we see Sienna probably like
Yep,
once, maybe twice.
yep.
Cyan we probably see two, like three, four times. So they're a priority, and then we see the Nate, who's dad, probably like in one shot. He still plays a pivotal part, so he's still gonna be important in this. Okay, so now that we kind of now have organized what is, so anything that's considered like P0 needs to get done within these 2 weeks.
Yep.
So then that helps with like the workload of like what needs to be considered, what is considered important um when we are getting started. So like before anything else gets worked on, we need to make sure these P0 items can get done. If you can get a P2 or P3 item finished and done, that's great because they're low priority. But the main ones like Milo and Xena, Audra, and Ace, because they're so like the most important, we need to make sure that this gets done within the sprint.
Cool.
And then if we don't get it done within a sprint, we can also add buffers. Adding a buffer is like maybe adding a couple, like this is just like a backup timeline or a backup deadline just in case we don't meet said deadline.
Awesome.
So if we can't reach it by the 30th of April, what I do sometimes is I incorporate like a 3-day buffer.
Okay. I'm going to jump to the comments really quickly. So, LOL
Okay.
asks, it says, I'm at work, but you guys are inspiring me to pick up that pencil. Yep, pick it up. Uh, Atomic says, don't animation companies ask for art degrees, though? Some do, but talent trumps degrees, always. Ink says, a degree is helps for visa, but otherwise it can be all done outside of school. Yep. Fango said, this is very good example of what a studio should be doing. Oh, thank you, Fango. Or Fango. Yeah. Yeah. That's, it's, so far it's like, Brianna's been blowing my mind. So
This is
yeah,
what happens when it's like you work in tech, and then
yeah,
it's like, oh man, I have like, what is it? When I got into being a PM, I did not know I could do this, and I was like, okay, so this really is just a bunch of like, you are managing, but also at the same time, you are like having to make sure people do what they're supposed to do,
yes,
and even that's like what I did. do when I had to do things. Okay.
Yep.
So we got that. So I added the timeline, or actually, yeah, I added a timeline. State the deadline is April the 30th. So yeah, April 30th is the deadline. I'm gonna say here instead 2 weeks. That's better. So then I incorporated our buffer. So if just in case if anything doesn't get done, that this is specifically for anything that is considered P0, or this is urgent for us.
Okay.
So I might just do that instead. That's what I did with my last team that I was with. When it was like, what does P0, P1 mean? And I'm like, okay, it just means the urgency, guy.
Yeah, priority 1, priority 0, priority 3. Come on, it's simple.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, do you have I had to set that up. Let's see. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna fix that then. I'm gonna just do done. And then I'm just gonna fix this real quick.
So my thought is, you guys tell me, how would you like to? How do you want to do this? Should I go through and do some quick, rough character, like?
Are you saying that? Do you want to go through it first to give your visual take on it, and then see what we come up with?
Yeah.
Or you want us to see what our spin on it, and then you refine that.
Yes.
So which one do you want to do? You put your spin on it first, or we put our spin on it first? I worked with you a while.
Yeah, and
your spin on it first, and then see what can we add.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Because okay, so there's two ways we could go about it, and I like that. And the reason I say that is because you could potentially go through what I've done. No, okay. What I'm going to do is for each character, I'm going to do a standing pose of what I imagine their costume is. And then starting with Xena, Milo, Audra, and Ace. Because if we do decide that one of our sprints is to take shot 4, like Fred suggested, to somewhat final, because it wouldn't be bad to be watching the animatic we submit to the festival and they're like one shot and it's kind of refined. Then based on some of the, you could then go through the video and see like, oh, well, he had Xena pose like this. Can I redraw Xena in that pose or inform this pose that Nick has done based on that? I don't know. So maybe our first sprint is to like see what works best. I'll start with Xena and then I'll hand it off, or I'll do like 2 characters, one for Brianna to play with, one for Fred to play with. See how that goes. And then we can determine from there how we want to move forward.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
I would suggest
Go ahead.
A mood board for characters, because I know you reference Steven Universe for backgrounds and whatnot a lot, and then for the bigger expressions, when they're bigger, it'd be like a kill a kill.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have some images, something you can give us that visual references, like a mood board, nothing too crazy. Maybe like 3-4 pictures that you're thinking in mind, that you have in your mind, that you would want to incorporate into those suits or those characters, that we could all be on the same page as we're designing.
Okay.
I'll pull mine from Digimon and Naruto, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Then we'll go whatever.
So, I will make that part of my first pass. So the thing that I hand off to you, my deliverable before you all can work will be my drawing of the character in a pose with all of the inspirations that I pulled from to get their look.
Perfect. Yes. So we know where you're coming from, and then when we give ours back to you, then we still are using the same references and images.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. So then let me add. I might add a thing. So then let's do.
So LOO asked, will the animatic be sent with your voice over or have your children voice them in time for submission? I really think that I'm going to need to have the somewhat final voice actors in for the submission. Because I don't think they would understand. You know what I mean? Like, I think the audio being near done is one of the things that will help us sort of like help them look beyond the visuals, right? Like the audio sounds clean, there's all the sound effects, and like the voice acting is good, but you can clearly see, oh, well, they need to go in and refine this or animate that a little bit more or paint that background. So I think it would be best to have the actual final voice acting for the June submission.
Quick question,
Yeah.
Nick. How long do you think that would take you to like provide like the references and like just the inspiration of the board? How long will that take?
So I'm gonna try and get Xena. I sure.
This is the hard part when you're planning a sprint.
Well,
It's always
here's.
like, how long was this gonna take?
I need to give you all time. So what I would say is, for the two of you, let's decide which character each of you is going to do.
Yep.
Any preference?
I'm interested in Ace.
Okay. All right.
Milo.
Okay. So what I will do is then I will, for those two, maybe pull what you can from the current film and play around with it yourself while I put together the mood board. And then I will have that for the two of you because my stream tonight, I will be working on that design. And then today is Saturday. Then I have two streams tomorrow, which I'll probably do. I'll do maybe Ace on or Milo on this first stream tonight, and then Ace on the stream tomorrow morning, and then maybe Mom on the stream in the afternoon of Sunday or Sunday evening, and then
I hear no bite.
and so then that way I can then hand off those sheets to you. That'll give you Monday through the end of the sprint.
Hey, I'm gonna have to jump off. It's my wife's birthday, so we got
Oh,
to start doing.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and I'm reaching my time as well. So, but I will be back this evening, and I will work on. I'll probably do Milo and then Ace, and then Mom, and then we'll have to figure out who, because we got some other folks. Because the cool part is we've sent all this to the Purple app or Twitch, and so though they probably won't want to watch all of it, you know, Kismet, Nashi, even Kismet, Nashi, and Naja have said they wanted to help, and so we can potentially assign characters to them to play around with and get used to drawing as well. What's up, Noah Hutch? How you doing? We're doing great.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, Fred. Have a good one. Thanks, man. Should voice actors also include facial video capture for motion capture or reference? No, not in this instance. Yeah, no. And this is going to be TV, made for TV animation, so a lot of times our lip sync is going to be open close sort of animation versus like full on expression. I don't know. We'll see. But we're not going for Disney. It was awesome seeing this grow. Can't wait to see it all come together. Thank you. Good. What about you? I'm doing good, man. I got my teammates in here. We're doing some operational stuff, and then we'll get back to drawing, and we've got clear goals and priorities, which is ooh, mother's milk for me. That's weird boys reference. But yeah. Um, so the cool part is that, like I was saying earlier in the stream, it's hard for me to get started without having a clear list of what I need to do. And with this, I think I'm gonna like really feel like, oh man, off the list, off the list, off the list. So
I think we have all the things that we need so far because since we're focusing on characters, so we don't have to worry about sprint. So if you see that it says on hold, it's mostly because that just means that a task is dependent upon something.
okay,
So once the mood board, and I added the note about what the hold status is. So Milo's character sheet and Ace's is on hold, and putting a note that the mood board needs to be incorporated in order for this task to proceed. So once we have that, we can then change the status to note that it is in progress.
okay,
Because right now we cannot start it.
okay.
Um,
So when I jump on stream tonight, the first thing I need to do is come over here and click this from not started to what are my statuses to
so you have
in
started.
progress.
We can add more if you need to. So right now it's like not started. We have in progress. I'm gonna add a status of under review. So this is just
Nice.
like if we want to hop into a stream together just to review everything before it gets done. Once that is like for if you
Yes.
look at it because you're the director. So if you look at it and everything is good to go here, you can then just switch it to completed. Um, and then once that is completed, I might change this so then it can actually alert in our emails to let us know when a status has changed.
Oh
So then we can
yes.
like
Yes.
so then it can be assigned that way. Um, and so once that, so if you go in here and you get started today, you just need to change it to in progress. Once that is in progress, that just means that this is currently in, like going until it is ready for quote unquote under review. Or if there needs to be a review, we would change it. But if that is ready to go, you just hit complete. You attach the file that is associated with it, and we can then go from there.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
So LOL asked, so current character designs aren't solid and can possibly be changed or will be? Not a lot. Essentially, the character designs are 75, 60% there, right? So really mostly what we'll be doing is trying to make them so they're consistent, right? Because right now I'm drawn based on what I know. And so characters can look one way, and J Rock, thank you for the follow, can look one way in one shot and then another way. And it's really very small. J Rock, thank you for the heart me. Very small differences in those characters too that can make a big difference shot to shot. So we're going to make it so that when you're looking at mom from the profile or from the front or from the back, you know it's the same character, it's the same style. And then what is her uniform, and what is her clothing? Because I was drawing something, but then I started running into some challenges in what I had initially done, being able to represent that across various shots. So we're really just sort of locking those designs in, more so than redesigning. But there might be some redesigns, but Milo, the way Milo generally looks should stay the same. The way Ace generally looks should stay the same. The way Mom generally looks stays the same. Because I've been drawing these characters in my webcomic for more than a year. More than 3 years I've been drawing these characters. So we're really just refining them for this particular project. So awesome.
So everything now is set up. I don't know if there's anything else that we may need in here at this time, but everything is kind of laid out as it needs to. And all the information is there. I added a new column to the right that if you have any, this is just like reference files. So this is just a way that you can attach the reference file that's like to our Google Drive or the workspace, and we can attach it in there. And I'm gonna do the same for the handoff file. That just you're just gonna we can just put in the folder. I'll make a note of just put in the folder and the folder name or whatever folder they're going to be associated in, and then you can just drop it in there once it's completed. So then that keeps us organized instead of having thousands and thousands of files on in just a spreadsheet. So then we know okay, if you need to access it, you need to go to the folder to take a look at it.
Excellent. Awesome. Yes, so I will work on getting the mood boards done. And then that should be. So, what is my due date for those?
So basically,
okay. You're just saying start date. No, and my due date is the 20th, which is Monday.
I just say Monday. Usually with projects, if it's something that what is it? And this is the problem with a PM, because then you are then familiar with the people you work with, so you can kind of get a span of how long. But if you need longer, I can change the due date.
Okay.
And that I can change the due date if that is not achievable. That is something I do as also what I did in my job when I talked to my engineers is that an achievable due date? If not, we can change it. So if the 20th cannot work, do you need a couple more days, 2 more days?
Yep. I will update you, and if I get done sooner, even better.
Okay, yeah. The sooner the better. That's usually the motto.
Yeah.
But again, if anything just needs to change or any due dates need to be adjusted, we can simply just change it up in here.
Awesome.
I'm gonna get the Real in Motion page set up too with this, so then we can kind of transition over there. If we don't want to use the spreadsheet, this is just a temporary thing. So if I can figure out Real in Motion and get that set up, or if I figure out the Airtable, I can do that too.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know if see you're still on here, Ink, and thank you again for suggesting Real in Motion. If we, I don't know if there's some features behind the scene, that would help us that are beyond the free version. We would love to explore them, give them a nice little test through. So awesome. Cool. I will work on. Can we add an item for me to get you all permission to the project folder?
Yes.
Access to the project folder. Cool. You're assigning. Does that? Cool.
If you make a comment, you can go up here and insert a comment, and then you can assign it to people if needed. So then you can get alerts on your emails. So then once it's resolved or done, then they can on your end you can just close it and be okay. And then on my end I'll get a notification okay, the assignment the person that was assigned to this is done. I'm okay, cool. So that's for right now, this is a way that we can assign things and letting them know okay, hey Fred, this is what you're working with. This is how long you have. If the due date is not feasible, let me know. So that's that.
Perfect. That is awesome. Cool.
I haven't been working tech for too long.
No, it was a perfect. I think like that experience. Has definitely shaped how you work, and I think here here's my interpretation, Brianna, is that you needed to go through that gauntlet so then when you came back out to pursue your creative stuff, you were much more rounded. Because I have a feeling like what you're doing here on this project could catapult you into the world of supporting indie animation, right? The ability to showcase your PM work, but in a more creative way, so that because like studios like Glitch and Spindle Horse, they're only getting bigger, and they are going to need this level of skill. So let's put together your PM producer. It's I think they call it producers in that world. PM producers.
I've heard production assistant.
Yeah.
Or I've heard production assistant, so it might be that. If it's, I think producer maybe. I'm not sure.
So what you're doing, if you look up, there was a position open at Glitch for an associate producer, and I applied for it. They never called me back. Glitch associate, and it is exactly what you are doing, working with Airtable, and I think you're beyond PA, production assistant at this point with your level of skill based on what I've seen and what I saw them asking for. Yeah, so if you go to glitchprod.com/careers, look at that associate producer position.
Okay.
Read that through, and then this will be the project, if not your production project management stuff, that you use to submit to this position.
Okay.
And it's remote. I know a dude. So yes. So Atomic is saying you are beyond PA. Yes, Brianna. All right. See you later, Choppy. So yeah. Feel free to reach out for real. We can get you a whole demo. Yeah, so let's reach out to Inc. and maybe try to set up a time and they can take us through how to use Real Motion, because it looks like it's got some great potential. Loving the hair, sir. Thank you. Hex is my name. A line producer is also these lines too. Yep, line producer. And I think line producer though is like the top. Like they're more in the leadership level of the producers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might also have a little bit more control over where the money goes. Line producer. So, yeah. All right, everybody. We're at like 3 hours and 30 minutes, 35 minutes. My stomach is grumbling. I got some chores I got to do midday. Yeah, my head is spinning in a good way. So, thank you, Brianna. This is awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and stay tuned. I will be on later tonight, working on my assignments. I have assignments. I like having assignments. Cool.
Thank you so much. If I join on tonight, I'm not sure, but I'll probably there'll be times I'm gonna be streaming more. Thank you guys again. Really super excited to join on this project. Been wanting to jump on a project for Turtledust for a little minute, so it's good to be back to swing of things.
Awesome.
And if anyone wants to follow me, feel free to follow me at my account at TikTok.
Yeah. You want to drop it in there?
So that is my TikTok. I'm at Bree Doodle. I am a designer illustrator, but also y'all learned today I was also a vegan. So if you want to check out any stuff that I have, feel free. And also if you want to reach out or have any questions, feel free to reach out. Love to help out as much as I can.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. Stay tuned, and remember, Black Animation Matters. Yeah. See you later. Bye, everybody. See you, Brianna.
Bye, everyone.
Oh,
Bye.
well, I think you'll still be on when I hang up.